folks, welcome back to Video Game Small Talk, episode 3 already. Feels like it should have been more than that, but I suppose we've done a few of these that you guys will never hear. James Swinbanks, Hope Corrigan, Patrick Lum, all here.
Hello.
Back to talk about more video games.
Hello.
Video games is 2 words, not one.
The important issues solved right here.
I can't have this conversation right now, so we'll just derail everything. We've got lots of games and a whole bunch of news. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of news, especially because I suppose we've got E3 predictions coming up as well, because that's pretty close. We may as well crack on, hey?
Yeah, let's just get straight into the video games.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. We got a few quick games that we want to cover, just a few updates that we've spoken about.
Yeah, James, how's Rage? Are you still raging?
So I played a little bit more Rage 2.
Are you still of the opinion that it's simple, but there's something really good there?
There isn't something really good there.
Oh, you're wrong.
Damn, that sucks.
It's fine. It's an extremely competent shooter with a really humdrum, slightly, I don't want to say boring, because there is something interesting to the open world, but it really doesn't add anything to it. Like it's not made for you to walk around. Like you really need to just sort of drive through it. It's made to be driven through. It's not made to be stopped and looked at in close proximity. So I don't know. Also, I ran into a bit of a bug, which means I'm not going to be able to finish the game until they fix it, because one of the main missions is completely cut off behind like a locked door that I can't do anything about.
Oh, wow.
That sounds all in all just terrible.
Yeah, that was pretty much... it was disappointing because I was, the shooting is fun and the combat is fun, but...
last time you talked about it, you seemed really optimistic.
I was super optimistic and they just dropped the ball and left me hanging.
This is why you should never want for anything. You should never have dreams. You should never believe things can be better, because you're just going to be let down.
Thank you, Hope.
I agree. Yeah. Jesus. Anyway, Breath of the Wild. Patrick, you're still cracking on.
I think I'm winding down. I finished the main story plus the DLC, plus about half the Sword DLC, which I didn't bother finishing yet. I'm just going to pick away at it over time. I've still got I kind of want to do all the shrines at this point, just because I've done so many of them, and it's still fun to explore that world. It's just I've explored most of it already. Yeah. And, I've actually kind of gotten into it as a bit of a weird side hobby. I'm studying landscape painting, and actually Breath of the Wild is really good for having these places that you can just be like, oh, I'm just going to sit down and paint this. So I'm just wandering around making photos at this point, which is awesome. Actually really fun, because that's the type of game, like we said before, they do the triangle world design where they have points of interest everywhere. So... and just visually, it's just a really great looking game. So it's just actually fun to just park myself down and be like, oh, I can actually be a photojournalist in this game.
That's really cool. I love the idea of playing games with a different objective like that.
Yeah, I'm actually writing, I got really into zine culture. This is a completely side tangent. I got really into zine culture recently, which is like making your own zines and making your own like books and stuff like that. I actually have no idea what they're called, but... Anyway, the point is I'm trying to make it like a Lonely Planet style guide for Hyrule.
That's so cute.
Nice.
Yeah. I love it.
And actually, you asked before about the motorbike. The motorbike is actually super great. Just because it's like, okay, you can summon it anywhere. I mean, you can do that with the horse as well, but it needs a little more thing, and it has to have run up, and it's a bit less maneuverable. So the bike is actually super useful.
And in this, we prove that robots will replace us all.
Boston Dynamics.
Hope. Back at it. Fair enough. Right, cool. Breath of the Wild still wonderful.
Yep. Who's playing Portia? Who's playing My Time at Portia? I've got a little interest in that.
That was me.
Oh, that's cool. So Portia's that Stardewy, Harvest Moony sort of dealie?
But kind of, yeah. I don't want to dig into it too much, because it's the kind of game that you can really get stuck talking about for a long time, because there is a lot to it.
Yeah.
It is very much like a Harvest Moonish kind of vibe. They say it's set in like a post-apocalyptic world, which is funny because it's definitely not. When you say that evokes a certain kind of sense given sort of the games that have come out in the past few years. But this is very much a world that's recovered from its post-apocalyptic status and is like now green again, and there is life.
It's the post-apocalypse.
Yeah,
I find
know,
that
right?
way more interesting than the general apocalypse.
Yeah,
Totally.
There's been a couple of those around.
Part of what I found really wonderful about Horizon Zero Dawn was that. It was kind of very much that post-apocalyptic setting. Anyway, this is kind of I don't want to say it's a bit of a life simulator, but it kind of feels a bit that way. Like the town, you can walk around the town and greet a whole bunch of people, and there's a whole lot of resource management and resource digging and that sort of thing. There's a lot of systems involved in my time at Portia, which is part of kind of what I really was drawn into it by, because I like those sorts of system-heavy games. But it's really like a couple of world-class UX designers short of being really
sucks.
excellent. The UI is like not unreadable, but there is a lot going on, and it takes a lot of the magic out of what they're trying to do.
That can really
that blows.
It deflates it a little bit.
Yeah, and it can really sort of ruin your immersion or make tasks that should flow well and be fun not fun. And
that's totally what's happening. Like I'm running into I'm trying to build the most simple sort of resources to just get my workshop up and running, because the whole idea is you have this workshop. It's a competing workshop throughout the region that competes for contracts from like the local commerce guild or from local local clients, that sort of thing. And you want to be the best at it, and you want to have the best rank because you make the most money and all that sort of stuff.
It's really just occurred to me, and I'm sorry that I have to say this, but I just can't not, that this game's title is probably a porn movie.
Totally, it's absolutely a porno straight out of 1999. Like it's the sequel we didn't know we wanted. No, you are not the only person to have thought that, I'm sure.
Patrick's like, what's a porn?
Let's not. I don't. No, anyway. Look, it could be. It could have been.
Is the writing any good?
It's fine. It's really,
that kind of sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been chasing that Harvest Moon dream for a while. Like my favorite's Friend of Mineral Town, and Stardew Valley was approaching it. I heard my time is. I might be mistaken, but is Portia out of a Chinese studio or something like that, or has it got Chinese publishing or something?
Who was it? No, so Team 17 published it.
The Worms guys.
The Worms guys. So, and they're British, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't
know who the devs are.
Can't remember off the top of my head who the devs were. But anyway, it is kind of interesting. I'm definitely I'll definitely come back to it. I've got a few other things on my plate at the moment.
Yeah, we'll chat more about it later.
Come back to
Mordhau. What's
Mordhau?
Is that
the
the
mine.
medieval one? Medieval
that
fighting
is,
sim?
Yeah, so it was actually made by the people who made Chivalry.
Oh, okay.
Which is, it's basically like an online...
is this the Battle Royale style one?
Sort of, yeah. There is a Battle Royale mode in it.
I've heard really interesting things about this.
Players.
The way the combat works is really interesting because it's not...
It's a bit like... Sorry, you go.
Well,
it's very intricate.
The way I've heard of it explained is often if you get a sword in a game, it's a gun with an animation.
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, when you swing a sword, it can get stuck on the walls and things like that and stop it from going all the way through.
So is this
there's a lot of that.
For Honor style or a bit closer to what's that bloody one?
No.
Did you ever play? Oh god,
it's a bit like Condemned. Did you ever? Do you remember
really
the melee
scary
combat
game?
from Condemned?
What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of it was a Banner Lords or something. I'll look it up quickly.
Battle Lords.
No, Banner Lords. Mountain Blade. I'm thinking of Mountain Blade. Did you ever play that game?
No, I didn't.
So Mountain Blade was you lead, medieval mercenaries around and fight battles and lay siege to castles and that sort of stuff. It was pretty complex, but it was much more on the strategy and tactical layer than necessarily on the running around with the sword layer.
Yeah, right. Well, that's very much what this is. This is sort of more about the visceral nature of medieval melee combat and sort of large scale melee combat.
Yeah.
And sort of the brutality of it. It is an exceedingly violent game.
Ooh, okay.
But it's because you're running around with a Zweihander and lopping people's legs and arms and heads off. And it's pretty immensely satisfying to do that, except it's also very difficult. It's fucking hard. The combat is incredibly intricate. There's a lot involved.
Would you say the combat is more or less difficult than it would be in real life?
Oh, no, it's a little bit clunky, and I'm still very much forming my thoughts around this because I'm reviewing it for GameSpot at the moment. So
we'll hear more detailed thoughts later.
Yeah, I'm still.
It
deciding.
does sound like a hard one that it would be to review. A lot of the way people talk about it, to me, it almost feels more like it's an early access game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's out now. I don't think it is in early access anymore. I'm pretty sure it's gone through its alpha phase and has not finished development, but it's definitely hit its.
Yeah, but with games as a service and updates and whatever, who knows what that means anymore. Exactly.
I'm sure it's going to change at some point. But as for what it's doing right now, I like what it's doing. I'm really terrible at it. I know I'm really bad at it, but I can, even though I'm awful at it and I can't get the timing right, I know that there's something there and I can feel the depth there, which I'm totally down with.
Just like you did with Rage 2.
Hey, that I thought there was something there. This I know that there's something.
I look forward to your
I'm just very
review.
bad at it.
Certainty.
So that's on its way. Who's been playing Wolfenstein 2? That's a brilliant fucking game.
I played it when it first came out, and the other day I was literally just talking to someone about playing it again, and I thought that was enough to bring it up because it's so great.
It's on Game Pass now.
Well, I've got it. I
recommend it. It's a fun
great.
game.
Because the reason I was talking to someone is I was trying to think of a good shooter to use to test out my headphones and I wanted something really where you could sort of feel the guns.
Yeah.
And I thought about the shooter that I felt did that the best that I played, in the past couple of years that wasn't multiplayer, and Wolfenstein 2 is the one I thought about. And I think that's pretty incredible. And I started thinking about the emotional investment that would be required if I started this game again, and the intensity of some of the scenes and how great they are, and how I just wasn't ready for that right now.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to bring it up to talk about it because it's so great.
Yeah.
You just needed to get it out a little bit.
Well, you sort of inspired me to put down my... I'm not actually playing it, but I'm just watching LPs of Nier Automata again on the basis that I wanted to cry a lot. So
we both had some emotions, and it made us want to just mention a game.
I think I was listening to the soundtrack for some reason or the other, and then I was just like, I really like the soundtrack. What's it like in context again? And then I saw an LP, and then I just started the whole LP again. I was like, I love this game.
What a fantastic game. What a fantastic soundtrack.
It's got such a great soundtrack. Goodness. I wish the game was fun to play.
It is, but it's not as fun as another Platinum game. So, and it's a lot better than Nier. Holy shit! Oh my god.
Yeah, I started Nier Automata and was really into it for a bit, and then just hit a massive wall on it and got so frustrated and declared it dead.
It's actually, I find it one of the easier Platinum games because of the RPG
difficulty.
Oh, what was it? It's just
it was just
Control.
Yeah.
Oh, and probably was it the hacking and the sort of the
No, so I'd gotten really bored with it.
Yeah,
and because it's really repetitive.
Yeah, it is a very repetitive game.
So I was already bored, and then I think I'd already gotten a couple of the endings, and then I got to the part where it arbitrarily makes you crazy slow and injured, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you've got to go a really long way.
Find your way back to where I remember the part.
And you gotta go to the mall, I think. But yeah,
I was just done. I was like, no, this is shit.
Wow,
I'm not doing it.
That sucks. That is. That is at the footsteps of the fucking. Oh my god.
I was already getting to Dunsville because I was just generally bored, and then it just happened to do something that is such a pet peeve of me in video games, and after the first time it was ever done has always just felt really contrived and pointless and the opposite of what a video game should be doing, and it did it, and it did it badly, and I got mad, and
that really sucks. That's right before. I mean, whatever. You got to that point, so you knew whether or not you liked that game.
I made the decision,
that's far
and
enough
I did also watch videos to see what all the endings were like.
Yeah, fair.
So I've experienced the game.
Yeah,
indeed.
I can talk more about it, but probably not right now. I love that game. I love Platinum, so I have a lot of thoughts about their combat engines. But
I actually think that might be the first Platinum game I've ever played.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll need to verify that fact.
I can go through all of them, so
let's not.
But
I'm sure they've been around for ages.
They've got an oeuvre, man. They've got some games.
Yeah.
But speaking about games with incredible soundtracks,
we will save that for the Platinum episode.
Yes, but speaking about games with incredible soundtracks, you've been playing VA11 Hall A or Valhalla.
I have. I've been playing Valhalla. It came out on the Switch.
Venezuelan studio, Sukuban Games, I believe.
Yes, and is Bridge Games?
I have no idea who the port studio is for Switch, but
I can't remember who ported it. I don't know. But I was lucky enough to receive a code for that, and because I heard it was excellent, and I wanted to play it.
Yeah, do you know about this game, Hope?
No, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm probably like 6 hours into it, maybe 5 or 6 hours.
What day is it?
Like
20-something?
I just passed
that is
chapter
such
1.
a confusing question
chapter 1.
for you to ask when I have no idea what this game
What day is it?
I know, but James would know.
It's just past chapter 1.
Okay.
So,
do you want to get the lowdown, or can I?
Yeah, I mean, you can if you want to, but basically, or what I know so far is you play a character named Jill, who I love. I relate so heavily to Jill. It's not even funny. She's just this wonderfully cynical, but very quite insular, and puts on a very professional, chatty face. Is like, yeah, I'm friendly and I'll be happy and stuff, but is also very super pragmatic, and quite straightforward, which I really dig. And anyway, so you play as her. It's kind of like a visual novel almost.
It's a bartending simulator, Hope.
Pretty much, yeah. Like you people come into
I
your
was
bar
not
and
going to
they
guess
chat to
that
you.
based on everything James had said.
People come into your bar and they chat to you and they
order a drink,
and you've got to work out how to make it for them. And it's really just a matter of mixing a few different parts of. There's like.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention it's a cyberpunk bartending simulator.
That's right, cyberpunk bartending action.
Yeah,
I think is the
tagline. Yeah,
the tagline.
That sounds great.
There's not a lot of action, except insofar as bartending is action, but...
Yeah.
So what does her personality have to do with making these drinks?
Because you're a bartender, you're talking to lots and lots of people all the time, and then it's more it's not really like a procedural or systematic game, so it's really just more like you're going through the days, and then these people will come up, and then you just chat with them. So it's a lot of reading, really. And
yeah. But I suppose one of the draws about it is that each of the characters are quite unique in their own way and very different in their own way. There's this guy Donovan who's the head of editor of.
He's a News Corp head.
Yeah, pretty much. He's the head of the local rag, who really thinks quite highly of himself, refers himself to himself as a VIP on several occasions. Is constantly hitting you up for
free drinks,
stories, or anything that you hear, if you
gossip,
hear
tattle,
gossip, that sort of shit.
Did you meet the Shiba Inu yet?
No, I haven't met the Shiba Inu yet.
Yeah, your boss is pretty great. She's a former wrestler or some shit. Oh, Streaming Chan.
I met Streaming Chan.
Streaming Chan is great.
She's wild, constantly reminds.
Did Miku drop by yet?
What is happening?
The singer showed up.
The singer
showed up.
She's great.
She was rad. What was her name? Riku Star?
It's Kira Mika, I think. I can't remember.
Kira Miku.
And then you got to do the star thing because she's like a Vocaloid or some shit. Anyway, the point is, there's lots and lots of characters. They're all really great. It's a fantastic.
It's just a game that's full of personality.
Yeah.
It's full of charm and personality, and there's some really great, strong characters in it that are just fucking wonderful. That you just don't see out of anywhere. There's this little. Some of the characters are called Limleys or
Lilim, I think it is.
Lilims.
I think it's Lilim.
Yeah, they're like androids. They're basically like robots, but they're sort of humanoid robots. And there's this one that is just a open sex worker and is really really upfront and really straightforward about it. But Jill is like, and while it makes everybody else uncomfortable, Jill's just like, yeah, she's great. She owns her shit. She loves it. It's like super refreshing to have just these kinds of like really down to earth characters, even though it's such a fantastical kind of setting. Suck? No, it's awesome.
No,
it's
I mean,
really
it's great that this game is doing it. I just hate it when you get to the point where you're like, it's refreshing that this game has this.
I know, but I suppose like what's refreshing about it is like you just don't really see characters this interesting in lots of games. You know, I suppose there's not a lot of games that feel like they invest this much into their characters, and I suppose because there's a lot of games don't really have to. I suppose if they don't, it's not really their MO. But that you can tell that it's something that they've spent a lot of time on, because it really shines through. I think they have a lot of personality, and there's a lot there to really.
Is that kind of the main drive of this game? So I get that you're making people drinks, but is it
like the making drinks is kind of just inconsequential. It's what you do to forward the story and to sort of keep you engaged a little bit. And it does. There is a little bit of a puzzle solving element to it because people will ask you for certain types of drinks. They might have mentioned something to you in their conversation prior that you might need to remember, or they might be a regular that you saw
2 days ago or something.
A few days ago, and they'll come in and be like, I'll have the usual, and you'll be like, well, fucking, what was your usual again? And you'll have to try and remember that. And if you get that wrong, then you might score less wages for the day, which might have an effect on how the story plays out.
Because you do need to pay rent every week is one of the things.
Yeah, you've got to pay rent, you've got to pay, like, you can shop for things which will help your focus.
A fun, happy version of Papers, Please.
So one of the things that they actually tell you to do at the start of the game is they say this is a chill game. So grab some snacks and just take it easy.
I love snacks.
Yeah, right? So
are you finding it like I don't think by the end of chapter 1 it did the like through line hadn't really revealed itself yet.
No. So it's still I've still got a bit to go, and I'm really looking forward to sort of cracking on with some more and seeing where it goes, because I definitely want to see it through.
Yeah, I really like the game, but I remember thinking for the first like 2/3 of it, basically, I was like a one day at a time sort of experience where I would just like get tired after a day and be like, okay, that's enough reading, that's enough characters for now, and go do something else. Yeah. And then at some point it just became transitioned to this, I can't stop playing this. I need to know what happens next. And that was really interesting because that first half of the game almost doesn't have a connected plot. So
yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it is really just introducing you to the bar and introducing you to the sort of characters that show up
and the world,
kind of the world, and really the world. There's a lot going on in the world. There's like kind of this weird political stuff happening in the background where like there's this group who are kind of like law and order, and like their president is in the newspapers every day, like saying some fucking stupid thing about something else, and it basically is making a real dick of himself.
I love when art imitates life.
Yeah, and a lot of this is sort of playing in the background, and it feels like it's kind of on a
knife's edge
to intertwine with sort of what's happening in the bar's life, and sort of the characters in the bar. So I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen. But I'm really, really super digging it now.
It's a great game.
And also like it's on the Switch, so I can just play it.
Yeah, wherever. I'd really like to.
It's kind of a
buy it
perfect way
again.
to play it. Really, it's a really, really good way to play it. And I'm kind of, it feels like a perfect Switch game.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm super.
Sounds like the kind of thing that'd be really great to like just knock out on a plane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even. It feels like it could be a long plane flight.
I think it might be
it's not a short game.
It might be like
I didn't mean necessarily finish. I just meant like chill enough that.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think that's true. Or like a play before bed sort of thing, like whatever time you use for Phoenix Wright, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love how you say that like it's everybody's milk and cookies. Like it's just the common thing that everybody does before
Phoenix
bed.
Wright or Ghost Trick, whatever, you know. Whatever your visual novel of choice.
Floats your boat. Yeah, so that's Valhalla. And I'll probably give you an update on that in the coming episodes once I've managed.
No worries. Great soundtrack as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, super soundtrack. I love that you can pick the jukebox at the start of every day.
I wish it had an assigned like music though, just because sometimes I'm like, I don't know which of these is which, and I just want to hit random or something. So
yeah,
that'd be nice. Anyway,
that'd be fair.
Should have an option for you to just punch the jukebox and play something.
You broke the goddamn jukebox. It's coming out of your wages.
Yeah.
Hey.
Who's been playing Tacoma?
I've been playing Tacoma.
Patrick.
So I don't know. I just one day was really rough, and I just came home and I was just like, I just want to play something and finish it. So I just booted up Tacoma, which which I've had for ages and haven't played it. So I was like, okay, it's finally time. I'm going to play Tacoma, and I played it, and it was great.
I've only ever heard good things about Tacoma. I've never played it because I don't tend to like walking simulators very much.
Yeah, I mean, it very much is a walking simulator. Like, I think I was in the mood for a movie that wasn't a movie, basically.
Yep.
And because it's so to set up what Tacoma is, basically, you're like an investigator on a space station, and you're trying to piece together what happened over the last X days or hours or years or whatever. And you're sort of helped by the fact that you've got this AR display that has been recording scenes or memories, and then basically we'll just replay the holographic recording of what's going on. And then the sort of upside to that is that you can walk around and look at people's screens when they're looking at them, and then follow the conversations, all this sort of stuff. So it's kind of like detectiveness in that way, and you're sort of piecing together this narrative by actually interacting with it and walking around with it. And I got actually, obviously this came out after Tacoma, but I was actually thinking of Obra Dinn. Yeah, I was thinking of Obra Dinn a lot while playing it. Because it's like, okay, you're trying to, you've got the scene of a crime, basically, and then you're walking back and you're just like piecing together this narrative.
But Tacoma's is a scene plays out before you.
Yeah,
right?
a scene plays out before you. So it's not just the audio, and you're trying to figure out from, like, Obra Dinn's a lot more difficult because it is just that, like,
it's like
pause.
A still image.
Yeah, that still image. But, I mean, it does have that wandering around and you're looking at things, but it's not nearly as detailed as, well, it's kind of hard to say, right? Because the
game may be so motion sick.
Yeah, the graphical style for Obra Dinn is really difficult. I like it, but it is definitely like something you have to get to grips with, and then it actually becomes actively annoying when you're trying to like look at a small detail or something like that.
Yeah.
Tacoma's kind of the opposite. It's like I was just sitting at people's bookshelves trying to pick out what books they had and that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just it's like, oh, what if we took the budget for a game that would otherwise be, this amount of thing, and they just hard drilled down into this really small environment.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That feels like the Fulbright way of doing things.
I mean, Gone Home was fairly similar with less AR, obviously. I don't know. There's not much to say other than that it is good. It's only like an hour or two long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a 2 or 3 hour game. I don't think even 3 is. No, it's only that.
We should just play that.
We should just play that, yeah.
Yeah, you should just blast through it.
I got through Edith Finch. I can get through this.
Yeah.
I still need to play Edith Finch.
I would actually compare it to Edith Finch.
Everybody raved about Edith Finch, so
in that sort of walking similar kind of way, I guess.
Wanted to give it a go, and I felt nothing, and I acknowledged my robot nature.
Now, to be honest, I also got nothing out of Edith Finch, really, other than, like I was impressed by the craft, I guess, but I didn't react emotionally to it.
Yeah, cool. So, I've had a couple people say that, and we are in the minority.
Yeah, well, Tacoma is also, I think Tacoma is also, to me, more of a craft game than an emotional react. Like, it's more like a inevitable, this is going out towards an inevitable conclusion, so I'm not surprised by it. Like, if you played Gone Home was a much more I don't know what's going to happen next kind of thing.
Yep.
Tacoma's more this is the inevitable path on which everything is walking. And, you've got some I'm here, so clearly this happened. Or, they tell you in the briefing, it's actually, the escape pod launched 10 hours ago. So you're like, okay, well, something launched an escape pod. You're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a really just interesting little experience.
Cute. No, if it's that short, I will actually give it a go.
Yeah, so space games, who's been in the void and who's the bastard?
I'm the bastard.
Oh,
are you
no, I'm the bastard.
No, I'm the bastard.
I think we both had a little look at this one.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Tell me about it, because I don't know anything about it other than it's space and you shoot things and it's random.
It's
roguish?
Really
Roguelike-y?
stylish. Yeah, it's roguelike-y. Yeah, it's roguelike-y.
I want to hear what you have to say about it, Hope. Void Bastards.
Void Bastards is quite stylish. It's got that whole cel-shaded look to it, so everything's quite like hard black lines and in your face. It's also
totally presented as like a comic book.
Correct.
Like everything that's not inside the first person shooter element is totally just presented
and
as a
like
comic
if
book.
you hear footsteps, you'll see like the onomatopoeia kind of bonk bonk bonk.
Yeah, like there's
show
like
up on
like
the screen.
yeah, like a little like step, or if there's these little
think-
jello looking enemies that is like little blobs of jelly that
And if
like
you shoot them, they explode.
squelch around.
Do you see
Yeah, and
speed
they-
lines when you're doing
great.
something that's audible? That's what?
Yeah,
I think
so
Heinz
if you
mentioned
run, it'll do that as well.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
think like 60s Batman, the sort of
but
you know
Yeah, a little bit.
like the sort of
Bam,
the
kapow.
exactly the words
Yeah.
like flashing on screen
Flashing on
as things
screen.
happen.
That's
And
cool.
it does
Um,
have like the lines and things like that.
Oh,
to try
that's
to tell
like
you where
that-
signs are coming
Like
from.
pure comic book style presentation.
That's
is
like
what
that
we're talking
that
about.
old Ubisoft game. What was it called? 13, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, yep, that had some of that. Look
And
wise,
it's got
it reminds me
really
of that.
cool humor as well. Like it's very British humor,
Oh, good.
in my opinion, anyway.
It is actually super funny. Yeah,
It's
I do
quite
think
funny.
It's very funny.
It's both in your face and tongue in cheek, and I don't know how it does that. Like maybe the tongue went through
it's
the
the
cheek
British.
and then it
Oh.
was in the face.
I don't want to visualize this.
But what it is it has you going on to these spaceships which are filled with enemies trying to collect resources. So a lot of it's you like sneaking around. And it can actually be like super intense when you're like
Yeah,
trying to
for
loot a
real.
whole spaceship. And I was
Yeah.
using it again, it was another thing I picked to try and test out the vibration in the headphones.
Yeah.
And I discovered that vibrating headphones make stealth games way more intense than they need to be.
Oh, I bet.
Like, it was a bit of a problem. And so, like, you're creeping around this ship trying to find something, and then, like, you'll hear, like, bonk, bonk, bonk over there. And there
Oh.
are some enemies that are just, they're so big that you can't take them out until you've probably leveled up a lot and gotten a lot more
Yeah,
resources and things like
Or
that.
you've got like an airlock to shoot them out, or something along
So, like,
those lines.
sometimes when you hear that noise, unless you can get away from it, it just means that you're dead. Like, it felt like coming across a big daddy to me in, like, the first Bioshock.
Oh yeah,
those big,
that's
those
a,
big
that's
enemies
a good.
called screws.
And that's a really good feeling. It's a feeling I did not want at all. So I stopped playing it. But I did like the roguelike elements. Like, your character will have some quirks and you can potentially upgrade those or find new ones. And when that character dies, you lose those things, but you can take on your items and things like that.
Yeah.
And the quirks are funny, like the game is. So, like, I think one of the first ones you get is the guy, his quirk is that he coughs because he's got a bad throat.
He's a smoker.
And so it means that you're like sneaking around this spaceship and randomly your guy's like, and then the bad guy's like, what's over there? And you're like,
Yeah.
But
Fucking
I
funny,
saw
man.
Twitter, someone posted one and his quirk was like overly formal. So he calls
Oh
everyone
my
by his
God.
last name. And it meant that all the enemies, and they're normally just called like janitor or whatever, but that guy's name was Mr. Brown when he was playing that character.
Shout outs to Mr. McGonagall on Twitter.
Like,
that one.
That was so great.
Yeah, that was very funny. It's a stupidly funny game. It's got a really great sense of humor.
But I didn't get too far. I think I explored like maybe 5 ships. So
It
you
is
probably
super
know more
intense. Not well. I see. I haven't been able to dig into it too much because I've like had to play other games as well. But yeah, it gets way intense. Like the whole sort of rogue like element of it is really what carries it. So it's kind of like the star map reminds me a little bit of FTL in that you pick sort of the different parts that you're going from left to right.
You
and
go from
can-
point to point.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go from point to point, and those points have to be within warp distance for you to get to you for you to reach it. There's pirates that can find you.
Does it trigger events the same way FTL does? Like,
No. So there are some sort of random events, but you can generally see them coming. So you'll see little things orbiting the ships that you
Yeah,
go
I
to
didn't see anything that I
So-
couldn't clearly avoid if I wanted to.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
there
kind
might
of
be-
cool.
There might be so in the case of pirates, you'll see pirates circling the ship, and then they'll move as you take your turn. They will also take a turn and move on to the next ship, and sometimes you might be lucky. Maybe they'll move on to a different one, or sometimes you'll be unlucky and they'll move on to the one that you're planning on jumping to next, and then you'll be fucked because those pirates fucking strong. They'll mess you up.
But you do have the option to like try to avoid them if it's possible, because you can like go in a direction that they potentially say if they're at the bottom of the screen and you're in the middle, you could always move topwards instead and just try to avoid them.
Yeah, you can always try and take different paths.
If you do run into them, but you don't choose to board that ship, do you not have to deal with them, or do you have to deal with them anyway?
Don't know. I didn't try that.
Okay.
I boarded the ship. I've only dealt with them once, and they fucked me up.
That's how you know there's high-level enemies about.
Yeah, they.
I forgot to ask. Is it first person?
Yes.
Is first person in the shooty bits. So it goes from having a very comic book style presentation, including like full different panels.
When you're not on
panels.
these ships that you're looting, you're basically in menus.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically all just like a menu layout.
So the sneaking around bit is also this first person bit?
Yes. That is the first person bit, yeah. So when you actually go onto it, you board a ship and you dock with a ship.
It feels like when you're looking at the ships and everything like that, you're sort of selecting your next level, really.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah. And you can get a preview of what's going to be in that ship. You can see like items that you might need to pick up, which is handy because
if you're trying to make something specific, there's crafting and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. That's kind of part of the goal of the game, is that you're trying to you're a criminal basically who has been rehydrated, because criminals in the future in space are all just dehydrated and saved as records, just like literal like final records.
Okay.
And then
like
what they do is they
pull
them out
made of human jerky.
Yeah, pretty much human beef jerky, and
human beef.
Yeah, that's how that works, right? They just pull it out, whack it into a thing, and then douse it with some water, and then pop, out comes a person who has committed a crime at some point in the past. And
I haven't had any of the crimes be like, you know, your trades be like relevant to a crime or anything.
No, it's never that, but it always tells you like what they did.
Yeah.
It tells you like what I think my first character was like, got in trouble for running into an executive or something, and upsetting him.
It's quite dystopian.
Yeah, it gives the idea of the sort of dystopian space future that everyone's living in. Sounds fascinating.
Well, that's all right. That's where we're headed, so it's fine.
Exactly.
And there's like different kind of ships that you can board too, and you can tell from their image a little bit about them. Like there are these ones that have like cat themes to them, and they're like really Japanese.
I was on them today. Yeah, you can get they're like kitty bots.
Yeah,
they're like distractions that you can use.
Okay.
That explode at the end. They're really great. You can find there's ambulance ships. There's ships that will help you. That will help you edit your DNA so that you can remove or gain a new trait.
I just found some DNA like floating around in the abyss.
Yeah, like a gene thing, and it like just changes. It just changes your traits automatically for some reason. It's like a gene cloud, I think they call it, or something.
I went for it specifically because I wanted to see what it did, and
nice.
It just swapped out my trait for something new.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
It wasn't better or worse. It was just different.
What's the like aim? Like in FTL, you're trying to escape the rebel fleet or whatever. You're trying to get to the center of the galaxy.
Freedom. You're a criminal who's trying to find their freedom. That's what I've been able to glean from it so far.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're trying to. The first thing it gets you to do is it wants you to craft like a new ID badge because you don't have one.
Right.
So it wants you to salvage what you need from ships, and it tells you that one of the things that you need will only be on this ship that's like way to over there. So your first objective is to do jumps and collect food and fuel as you do the jumps, so you can do more jumps.
Okay.
So you can get to this ship and eventually craft this item.
Yep. So every jump takes one food and one fuel. So if you lose those, then you're fucked.
So at the beginning stage, at least, it's like you've got this far off goal, and then it's just survive and do the far off goal right now.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that it's gonna get you to make stuff until you can maybe get your freedom or something like that back.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely I need to spend some more time with it. I've only spent a couple of hours with it, but it's definitely one of those games
where I
really
know it's good. Like I can tell that it's good, but I don't think I want to play it right now.
It seems really well polished.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
This is is this a Game Pass thing? An Epic
It
one?
is
I
on
can't
Game
remember
Pass.
which.
I
Or
played
is
it
it
on
both of them?
Steam.
Game Pass?
Oh, Steam as well? Okay, so it's just on everything and it's also on Game Pass. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. Because I know some people are playing it on the Xbox One and some people are playing it on PC.
I think
so.
given like Game Pass is so cheap and so many people have it, if you just play it, because you'll work out really quickly if it's for you or not.
Yep.
And if it is for you, it's very good.
Mm-hmm. Who's been playing Ape Out?
Me.
What is Ape Out? I don't know what Ape Out is.
Ape Out's a
Superb.
Devolver game. It's really, really interesting. The music's by Bennett Foddy for some reason. And it's kinetic jazz drums, and you're a gorilla that's trying to break out of a facility.
Okay, I know everything I need to know about Ape Out.
It's also like really stark sort of art. So it's like just sort of shapes that are like contrasting.
Okay.
If you're listening to this podcast, I want you to stop it, pause it, and go and watch the Ape Out trailer on
It's
YouTube
so good.
right now. It tells you everything you need to know about
It
the
really
game.
does.
It sells it in the first 5 seconds. It's superb.
I mean, once Hope said jazz drums, I was already mostly in, I think.
Right,
So.
and
It's
so,
all
like,
it's all like procedurally made as
they're-
well. Like,
yeah.
I think the music it's
pretty interesting.
really rad.
It's done so it sort of matches. So a lot of Ape Out is getting momentum, like the faster you move and things like that, because you need to be moving quickly because you can only get shot about 3 times and then you're dead. But you also need to be moving in ways that obviously dodge these bullets or allow you to take these people out. So you kind of want to be like sort of chaining what you do. So if you knock one person, you want to try to make it in such a way that maybe you knock them into someone else, or maybe you kind of pick them up and use them as a shield for a bit, but you can still get shot through that. And the more sort of eloquent you manage to get your movements, the music sort of follows into that. It feels like Hotline Miami.
So it's kind of like you're trying to get a style, like almost like a combo going, I guess. Something like that.
I mean, I couldn't see any reward for a combo or anything
more
like
like
that.
a
But
But the feeling is your reward, right?
Yeah, exactly correct. Like no numbers
More
pop
like
up
a
on the
flow.
screen.
Yeah, flow.
And
That's-
if you
that's
can
the
get
right
the
term.
flow happening, it feels really, really good. But it's quite hard.
Okay.
Yep.
Like it's the kind it's like Hotline Miami, and I remember Hotline Miami was like a lot of fun, and I really liked it. And the trick with it was that the levels were quite small, and it was very easy to just start that level again. So even though you might have failed it a million times, you just push the button and you're not set that far back.
Okay.
And Ape Out's kind of similar, but I do feel like the levels
The levels are procedurally generated.
they seem a little bit long.
Yeah, they are. So they're not short. They're usually come in like 2 phases, where the map will slightly change. There might be a choke point or something in the middle that separates these 2 sections. But they're all procedurally generated, and they're basically like a big maze. And some
What I really
areas,
love is whenever you die, it zooms out and shows you your maze and your path so far.
yeah, it's the whole game is just
It's
just
a really
reeks of
classy,
style.
stylish little thing.
Yeah, it's really great.
okay.
The whole it's presented in the way of like each level is a song on the back of a
LP?
vinyl soundtrack.
Or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the back
okay.
of an LP. It's really rad, really well presented. Just a really tight, superb little game.
But yeah, it
Very
is,
cool.
like you say, it is incredibly tight. It is difficult. And it is not something that you can kind of half-ass your way through. I think, like, there are some games where you can kind of just fumble through them and you might be okay, and I don't think Ape Out really lets you do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think might be able to fumble a little bit. I think it definitely, for some of the later levels, it ramps up a lot. Especially because sometimes later on it starts to make you complete 3 or 4 of these sections in one go before it
And
will
that's where
say...
it gets, I feel like that's too long for it.
Yeah.
It feels like artificial difficulty, almost.
A little bit. It does kind of... maybe it does fall apart a little bit just from how tight it is. Like, it is such a nice little core loop. That,
But if you do really enjoy this kind of challenge, you'll really like it.
Sweet.
Yeah. I can
Also, it's
see
just
why...
stylish as heck. Just, yeah.
Yeah, massively
Play
stylish.
it
I
to
can see
feel
where you
cool.
get the I can see where you get the Hotline Miami reference from, because it's really fast.
It's really fast and it's top down. I don't know, it felt quite similar.
Yeah, totally. I would agree with that. Wonderful game.
Sweet.
Ape Out. Go play it. News. News. It's news time. There's so much news. Patrick, help us. There's so much news.
Okay.
Help us, newsman.
Okay.
Although I think this first story might have been one that I added.
Yeah.
So maybe
but we're all on this one though, I think. But yeah, this is the George R. R. Martin says that he's consulted on a Japanese game. The Japanese magazine blog, I forget what it is, but it's fairly reputable. Gematsu reporting that it's FromSoft, and so that's the Souls guys, of course.
I mean, it makes so much sense that George R. R. Martin's doing work with them because everybody dies.
We don't know what consulting means. It could be like he dropped by the studio once and said a thing, and that was enough to add a credit. It could be he's working with them in a main writer role or something like that.
I got an idea. How about you kill everyone?
Yeah.
And they were like, yes.
Martin is doing like a shit ton of projects apart from not working on his book. So no one's really sure which one this is. And even if it is,
he went and announced that in his personal blog.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of where this first came out.
Yeah,
I think he mentioned, I'll just find the quote here. It's like, I'm still busy. I've got, as a producer, got 5 shows in development at HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Some have nothing whatsoever to do with the world of Westeros. 2 at Hulu, 1 on the History Channel. I'm involved with a number of feature projects, some based on my own stories and books, some on material created by others. There are these short films I'm hoping to make, adaptations of classic stories by one of the most brilliant, quirky, and original writers our genre has ever produced. I've consulted on a video game out of Japan, blah, and then...
Yeah, so that's the pertinent bit.
That's all he mentions.
Okay,
but
I think
there
was a rumor that
the rumor that he'd spoken to or talked to FromSoft has been around for longer than what he...
Yeah.
Longer than this has been out.
I think the Gematsu, what's the word? Not confirmation as such, but the corroboration, I guess, is quite newer. I think there was actually slightly more information about that, or that might be the Gematsu one, actually.
That's pretty exciting news, though.
Yeah. So the Gematsu report is that it might be some sort of Viking-related game called Great Rune, set in the Norse world, exploring mythology, and that's off Games Radar and Gematsu.
Hot damn.
So
that could be really cool.
Yeah, that could be pretty rad. I've had a lot of Vikings in the last couple of years, a surprising amount actually, but could always go for some George R. R. Martin's Vikings, so, you know.
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean, he's proven that he knows how to write pretty rich historied lore.
Yes, he's pretty good at world building, and so is FromSoft, so that's kind of the interesting part to me, actually.
Yeah,
definitely. Obviously, he's very good at plots as well, because Game of Thrones, not counting the last season, which he did not, which he consulted on, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, the point is, sounds cool. Who knows?
It does.
We'll learn more at some time. Maybe E3. Who knows?
A lot of conjecture around this. We don't really know, but super exciting if it sort of turns out to be the case.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that it might turn up at Microsoft conference, but you know, rumors are rumors. Dime a dozen.
It's always really cool just to see like big names coming into gaming. Like it feels like it's being ever more acknowledged.
And not being connected to Kojima.
I'll say it like, I've said this a million times, and I know that people don't really get it when I say it, but Hideo Kojima is the Andy Warhol of games. And I don't mean that he does stupid shit. I mean that he's celebrity obsessed.
He so, definitely is obsessed.
Whole
he
thing
does love his friends.
Was like, he literally became famous because he wanted to be closer to celebrities. Like, he used to collect like cutouts in magazines, and he was just obsessive about these celebrities. And then he managed to become like a weird old artist and make them all his like best mate. So I guess what I'm saying is that if Death Stranding just turns out to be 10 hours of Mad's face while he's sleeping, don't be surprised. Like, we've seen this coming.
It sounds more like that, oh god, who's the French director of Quantic, not a Quantic Dream, where is it?
David Cage.
Yeah, David Cage. Him and his fucking weird Ellen Page bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh look, god.
I mean...
Kojima's less creepy than that.
Is he? The women in these two... So the guys get to be called Die Hard Man, and the women are Mama and Fragile.
Like, he's never been good at that stuff.
Yeah.
He's not creeping on the celebrities as far as
it's
I know.
pretty creepy though.
Kojima's not had the best track record.
He's not good at this.
He's not good at mums or women. So,
It's a shame because...
Should we just talk about Death Stranding since we're talking about Death Stranding?
Sorry, let's...
No, I brought up Kojima, so...
Do that. So, yes, let's do it. Fuck it, we can do that.
What a fucking weird trailer. But, also, are you going to say anything less for a Kojima trailer?
I really don't want this game to ever come out. I just want more of these trailers forever and ever and ever.
More 8-minute trailers.
I still think, even with this one though, I still think my favorite one was when Del Toro just suddenly randomly turns up in the middle of the trailer and turns to camera. I was just what? Okay.
No, the best thing ever was when the baby was in his throat and it gave a thumbs up.
Yeah.
So
this trailer starts with that, I think.
When he pulled off his toenail.
Oh, great. Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
I like the bit where he's called Sam Porter Bridges because he's Sam. He's an American,
building
so he's
bridges.
Uncle Sam. He's a porter because he's a mailman. He's building bridges between. I did like the double use of the word stranding though. That's really smart. And by smart, I mean I didn't think of it before he did. So
it's I don't know. I'm not convinced.
It's just a million excuses to make puns.
That's video games. So
kind of for it.
They showed off more of Death Stranding. They have some actual gameplay in this one, so it kind of looks like a more exploration game. I was kind of getting a little bit of Breath of the Wild sort of vibes off it.
And later, after people were speculating about things, Kojima tweeted that it's not a stealth game.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Because people were thinking that it looked really stealthy, and I don't know, because I don't really... If Kojima says something's not something, I'm almost more inclined to think it is that.
Yeah. I didn't see any stealth sequences. I didn't see it, and the action sequence that sticks out in my mind that I remember is
him looking dumbest.
Norman Reedus's character running away from 3 or 4 different things that were trying to chase him down, and he's just trying to dodge them, and then he just runs away from 10 or 20 meters, and then
running away is the essence of stealth.
That's true. Yes. Once you're caught, it's just okay, gotta go hide. I think
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this gonna? Because so we also got a release date.
It's out this September 30, I think.
November.
November.
Okay. November 8th, I think it was.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm completely out. But
I thought it was September.
I thought it was September as well.
Death Stranding is coming out November 8th, 2019.
Okay,
I thought it was November 8th.
Generally speaking, I only take release dates as confirmed about if they haven't moved it for about a month before. Because especially if they've got physical stuff.
Release dates.
Yeah, now they just lie all the time. So I'm whatever. I mean, not lie, stuff happens. But
yeah.
I would agree with you normally, except we are 6 months out from this. They know 6 months away if something is going to be finished in time.
Yeah.
Developers can tell that far ahead.
Yeah.
And look, Kojima's been in the game for a while.
Yeah.
I'd say he knows what's up.
This is a new studio, but it's got experienced staff at the head and experienced staff in design. I think it's and it's got who's funding it? Do you remember? Is it a Sony? It's not a Sony exclusive. Yeah. Okay.
It is. No, it's
Sony PC, right?
It might just be a Sony timed exclusive.
Is it a PC one as well, or is it timed for PC?
I just don't want it to come out.
So it does just say only PS4, but there was a rumor that it's only a timed exclusive for PS4.
Okay, well, nothing confirmed in that case, but...
It is definitely being funded by Sony.
Well, I'm sorry, Hope. I'm afraid they probably will put it out because they would like to make their money back, I think.
I know, but then the speculation stops, and...
No, the speculation won't stop because it's fucking Kojima, so they'll be what if he means this? And
that's different. I like it at the point where it is now, when we're what kind of game is it? And the answer's just yes.
That is fantastic. Although the website does just have a bunch of information, which is it's an exploring game. Build bridges to heal America. I'm okay.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Makes me wonder what he means by some of this sort of the whole Strand stuff, and I wonder if there's going to be some kind of actual connected social element to the game.
On the website there is some stuff walk in the footsteps of people and share shelters without actually meeting, some sort of asynchronous thingy-majig.
I think there was a tweet that said that there was definitely social connections.
Yeah.
Neat.
I think it's cool. Kojima has a lot of problems, but at least he's one of the he's one of the people out there with the clout to handle a project and also say, okay, but this one is about bringing America together or some shit. So whatever.
I'm very excited.
I'm interested.
He's such a mess.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I just remember watching the Metal Gear 5 trailer and being like, the one that he put together personally, and being to Garbage, the song by Garbage, that is one of my favorite trailers ever made, and being like, oh my god, this game's gonna be so great, blah blah blah, and then playing it and being like, oh no, oh no, he sold me a bill of goods.
And then he told us we'd be ashamed of our words and deeds.
I mean, I was ashamed of my words and deeds, and that deed was buying Metal Gear Solid 5. So.
Oh, wow.
I thought people liked that game.
People like that game. I'm ambivalent about it. I don't think it's a very good Metal Gear game, and I don't think it's a very good stealth game. But I think
you were
it is
going to say a very good Solid game.
Sorry.
I
mean, Revengeance is great, so that's a great, I haven't played Acid, so I don't know.
Oh, dear. It's fine.
I liked MGS5. I thought it was a weird, interesting.
I like Ground Zero more than I liked MGS5.
It was definitely a bad Metal Gear game.
Yeah,
it was an interesting departure from what that series did.
I think that is true. Like, it has elements that I was like, oh, if they just did a couple more things, it could be like if it was the Breath of the Wild of Metal Gears, so to speak. If it was interesting to go from place to place, but it's not. It's a bunch of boxes. Anyway. That's we'll argue over Metal Gear 5 at some point. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Let's jump to something else. Did you know gaming is now a disease?
That's
gaming
not
disorder.
the thing.
It can be close enough to it.
So I think this. Where did this
and you
start?
went for the Guardian, you say?
Oh, I'm not biased at all.
When did this start? This was like last year. I think this sort of happened. It was
started going around.
Decided was like ratified that like, hey, we're actually going to do this. We're going to put this together, and it's going to happen. And I think it's already. I think it's come into effect now. Basically, there was a lot of. From what we know, there's obviously been a lot of hot takes and things happening on Twitter, as tends to happen. There's a lot of stories getting passed around, and basically, I found this great tweet from a doctor, John Zhao, who also dabbles in sort of cosplay photography, but basically he made a really good point in that the whole video game addiction thing is not about the number of hours that you play. It's basically when gaming takes precedence over other things like your family and your health and basically your life.
I think that's like the general definition for most addiction, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, was just because I think it's important to make that distinction between, it's not the act of sitting down to play a video game that makes that is video game addiction. It's also not, taking a week off to mainline Death Stranding when that comes out, or whatever. That's not video game addiction. Video game addiction is when you ignore the base requirements, the base needs for life.
Yeah.
To play a game.
It's when you can't not.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. I think
that's addiction.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good move in terms of having an official category and that sort of thing for it. The only thing I'm a bit weary of is I don't know if you heard about these like Chinese Chinese Asian whatever, like breaking kids off the internet sort of boot camp sort of thing. And so gaming addiction has been a pretty big problem in China and Korea and that sort of stuff for a while.
This isn't
now.
like some kind of weird conversion therapy.
No, that's the problem. It is kind of a weird conversion therapy sort of thing. So as long as like it isn't a gateway to that sort of thing, like in the societies close to home, I guess that's all fine and dandy. Obviously, that's just because they're fucking scam artists out there to try and milk parents of stuff.
It's also just because it's new, right? Like gaming is still relatively new, and having access to it to the point where you can be addicted to it is also new for a lot of people.
I mean, I am pretty weary about, especially with kids, kids who know how to navigate an iPhone before they can spell, that sort of thing. So there's lots of potential problems that are going to come up and going to have to be dealt with. And I think at least recognizing that these things are going to exist is a pretty good first step, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like anything, though. Like,
Yeah.
And I don't get me wrong, I do think it needs to be addressed and seen as a thing, because it can be especially consuming
for kids
over other things. Well, even for adults, because gaming often incorporates elements of gambling, which is just straight up addictive.
Like if we want to talk about loot box legislation, we can start going.
Yeah,
and then there's also things like MMOs, where it replaces their usual social, which for some people can be really good, because it can get them an easy access to social that they may not normally get.
Yeah.
But for other people, that can be life-ruining, to become obsessed with, what's going on in a game and losing touch with what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit more than what tends to happen with people who might be addicted to television. But, I mean, it's not like that isn't also something that can be a problem. There's always... People get addicted to everything. Our brains are so stupid.
Yeah, I think games does have the feedback mechanism sort of thing, where it's like, because it's a system, and then also because it's got social groups that are tied to this system, it's got a slightly... I mean, that's why gambling works in some cases, because it's got the wow factor, it's got the bang whiz lights and stuff like that.
And the social aspect of it as well. I used to work at a casino, and a lot of people would show up
because... It's their retirement home, basically, at some point.
Well, when I was working at the casino last, I was a croupier, and I was working in Perth, WA, and it was during the mining boom.
Oh, okay.
And we'd get a lot of young blokes who worked FIFO, fly in, fly out.
Yeah.
And because they would be home all week on their week off, and they'd be like, what am I going to do during the day? Like, all my mates are at the mines, or the ones that aren't have 9-to-5 jobs.
Yeah,
So it's one of those things where if they fall into the wrong place, be it a casino, which I think is far worse than a video game, you get your social, and it can lead to unhealthy habits.
Yeah, and I think like that's also sort of the important thing to remember here, is that's what this is targeting, is the more problematic side of addiction and neglecting.
But for a fact that there's going to be all these like people who see this news and who think that their kid or their
they're trying to take away my video games.
No, I was thinking the opposite. Like,
they'll try and take away the video games.
They're trying to take away my video games.
No, like people who are like my mum, for instance, would see this, and her first thought would immediately be,
"You're addicted."
My daughter has video game addiction disorder.
Oh wow, yeah, right.
And
WebMD.
Yeah,
totally.
And there's going to be a lot of people who just see it as a disorder and just assume that anyone they know who plays games, like even a little bit more than what they think is okay, is... Yeah.
It's very easy for parents to get caught up in the whole sensational side of...
You never want your kid to be...
Oh my God, my video games, because a lot of parents don't quite... I feel like it should be getting easier as, parents
are getting
themselves
younger.
Becoming are still playing games, and they're starting to get their kids into games themselves. So you're starting to see that sort of generational crossover happening a bit more now as we get older. But
I think the other side is there were different games. So like there wasn't really anything quite like Fortnite when I was young. And that is so all-consuming for some kids. Like, I can see where parents get worried after seeing how their kids play and behave with Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
But and also think about, like, for some kids, Fortnite is how they go and hang out with their kids after, like, hang out with their mates after school.
So it does give them that social thing. And like I said, sometimes that can be great. Like, it's great for kids to have another way to be social with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, like, you probably need some ways that aren't Fortnite as well.
Yeah. I think the answer is just to be, like, be smart about it and like know what the fuck is going on.
Like, I'm never gonna have kids because I know I'll be a terrible parent. And
brutal.
Yeah, like it's just the truth. It's just a fact. And I think it's important to know that kind of stuff about yourself.
Fair.
And like if you can't like sort of talk to your kids and behave in such a way where you don't allow them to do something all the time, then maybe you need to think about that.
Yep.
If your kids behave, I've heard a lot of parents say that like if they take Fortnite away from their kids or whatever, their kids are like monsters and they behave really badly. I'm like, yeah, that's a problem you need to fix.
Yeah. You should probably, I don't know, do better at regulating that stuff.
Yeah, like they shouldn't be getting to that point maybe in the first place. I don't know. Again, I would be a terrible parent, and I'm not trying to tell anyone how to do it because I don't know.
Fair. Parenting hard.
Yep. Too hard for me. Easy mode, thanks. I got dogs.
Speaking of... Actually, no, that's not a segue. Pokemon.
I like Pokemon.
The Pokemon announcements this week.
I don't know. I don't know anything about these Pokemon
Okay, cool. Let me enlighten
Patrick,
you.
Hope,
I was laying
take
in
it
bed
away.
watching this, so I felt very correct.
Okay.
Tell me all about it.
Okay, so top
How
of
is
the line.
this going to help my sleep?
All right, top of the line Pokemon Sleep. It's basically from, oh god, what's the studio? Anyway, the Pokemon Company have teamed up with a studio that previously made Magikarp Jump, a smartphone app.
That's right.
Which to make Pokemon Sleep, which is basically pretty scant on details at the moment. But basically, it's some kind of sleep tracker app where the sleep tracking will help your Pokemon or become gameplay or some way. The aim is to...
It's like they wanted to say that it rewards you for getting a good night's sleep, but it also makes you excited to wake up.
Yeah, which is...
So I get the impression there's going to be a thing where it's like, you've slept for this many hours and I've unlocked these new things.
Yeah.
You know?
So the way it works is, as far as we know so far, because they really did not give that much details other than saying this exists and... they're putting out a new device, the Pokemon the Pokemon Go Plus, which functions as a Pokemon Go Plus, but also it's an like a sleep monitor via accelerometer sort of thing.
Yeah, it's something you put on your bed next to you while you sleep.
So this kind of works the same way as most like Fitbit sort of stuff or the fitness apps that you put on your phone that monitor sleep, which is basically like if you jostle around during the night, it'll activate the sensor and you put it on your bed or under your pillow or whatever, and supposedly that'll track how restful you're getting.
And this means it's got integration with Pokemon Go, so there's going to be a reward.
Yeah.
Probably similar to like how many steps.
Yeah, Niantic is collaborating with them on it. I don't know if they're collaborating on sleep or it's like integrated with Go in some way, or who knows.
It sounded more like sleep is a separate thing.
Yeah.
But you can earn bonuses for sleeping in multiple games.
Yeah, they might be trying to tie this like there might be some sort of Pokemon profile that you get, because they also announced a whole bunch of stuff. So Pokemon Home, for instance, which is just their like bank and trading profile that they've...
Yeah, it's replacing the Pokemon Bank.
Yeah, kind of. Across multiple platforms.
So it means that a Pokemon that you catch in an older game, if you can move it to home or a different game, then you've got it essentially in a cloud storage.
Yeah.
And then you can get it on any game that allows that.
Yeah. I don't know if there's too much to say about it because details haven't really been announced. Other than that, this does seem to be the revival of Nintendo's quality of life research.
Yep.
I think the Nikkei reported that was shuttered earlier in April, but it might just have been moved or something like that.
I do remember hearing that.
Yeah.
It feels like they're really... Because Pokemon Go's been massively successful.
Yeah. So
they're just turning Pokemon into a wellness brand.
Yeah, they might have tied it over.
I'm fantastic at Pokemon and at sleep. So I think I'm going to be really good at this.
Yeah.
What's sleep? I don't know what that is.
You don't have any kids yet, James.
No, I've got a fucking cat.
That's true. You can ask Serrals how that is.
But I think one of the best things about the presentation, which is very, very... Oh, they also... this isn't it. They also announced that they were working on more movies.
Did they?
Yeah, because they had that guy...
Oh, yes, the Toho guy up. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he told everyone to watch Godzilla.
Which you should.
That was
it's
fantastic.
Pretty good, but...
And Detective Pikachu is coming to Switch
as
a new game with a new ending.
Yep, I think so. I don't know what that means. They didn't show anything, not even art, I think.
Basically, they said it was going to be an ending that's different to the movie.
Yeah.
And also to the 3DS game. So the 3DS game, my understanding of the ending is... Spoilers for the Detective Pikachu movie. In the end of Detective Pikachu, I'm going to say spoilers... You find out that Pikachu has his dad's soul in him, and that's how he can talk and shit like that. In the game, that's only ever implied. It's never explicitly stated.
Okay.
So, I don't know if the Switch game is going to be totally different again. It implied that they would. But the best thing about the Pokemon announcement thing is they were all wearing the Pokemon shirts.
Oh, yeah,
which
the Pokemon
are
dress shirts.
fantastic.
Have you seen these, James?
They're so good.
Let me see if I can find them. Keep talking, Hope, quickly.
Okay, so the Pokemon shirts are... The first 150 Pokemon have had shirt designs made of them, and they're business shirts, and they're very subtle. Well, subtle may not be the right word. They aren't just like a Pokemon slapped on the shirt. Some of them are pretty loud, like the Arbok one.
Oh yeah, true.
But they're really interesting, cute designs, and you can get these shirts made up to your design, like your shape, your measurements, and you can choose different fabrics. So you could have the X pattern as the main part, and a different pattern as the cuffs, and all this kind of stuff, and you can make them and design them yourself. And the designs are just so great.
Yeah, they're really good designs. So let's go.
I like the idea of Pokemon shirts.
It's what I love about them is it's the kind of thing that you could wear to work.
All right, I have a link. Hey, they look nice. That's kind of nice and somewhat understated.
You got to skip a bunch of stuff to get to the actual designs, but
yeah, just like pick all your sizings. You're not really going to buy one because you can't, because you have to be in America. Originally they were Japan only, but part of the announcement was that you can get them in America.
I think they might be bringing to Europe as well, but yeah, over here. And also they're like $100, so it's still kind of... I think so.
$100 for like a tailored fitted shirt made for you.
That's true.
Is not a bad deal.
Yeah.
They almost look like pajamas.
Some of them look quite pajama-y, but some of them don't. And when I see the pajama designs, I think of them more as something that I would have on like the inner, like on the inside of the collar or something.
I'm actually headed to Japan in December, I think, so I might actually pick something up.
Are you sure these aren't available? Because I do see Australian dollars in the cart here.
I don't know where I don't know where they ship to yet. So
I know that they said US. They didn't say Australia at the time.
Yeah. Anyway, that definitely was pretty cool.
They're really, really great.
/Pokemon, if you want to go and check that out.
Yeah. They also... Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think they're great, but I've said that.
They are great. Well, you're correct. They are great. They also announced Pokemon Masters, which is some kind of smartphone gacha game, I think.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a battle game.
Yeah. The interesting thing is you collect the trainers instead of the Pokemon, which is kind of an interesting concept.
About time.
Well,
turn the tables on those fuckers.
They're going to have costumes, and they had a brief bit of animation and stuff, and Brock just flexes and his shirt explodes, which is pretty good. So
it's what we've always really wanted out of
honestly,
Brock.
I've seen it actually happens in the anime a bunch, so it's kind of cool.
I've watched it.
Yeah. That, by the way, that Pokemon Sun and Moon anime is really good.
It has moments of being really good. I just hate Rotom so much.
That's true. He's so really annoying. Okay. So PC Game Pass.
That covers the Pokemans.
Yeah, that's basically it for Pokemon. There's going to be a Direct next week, so that's probably going to be more...
It's a Sun and Moon Direct, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Sword and Shield?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so
Correct.
I think that's on the 5th, so before E3. That's going to be kind of interesting that Nintendo is... we'll talk more about this when we're talking about predictions, which is going to take up even more time. But
yeah,
Nintendo's really fucking weirdly confident or some shit, or they're just weird with their prediction cycle.
They kind of do this a lot with their
are.
Pokemon. So. I think they did this with Pokemon last year as well. They separated it from everything else.
I think probably just Pokemon is enough of a megaton that it can get its own news space.
The biggest thing in the world when it comes to like dollars for an entertainment thing.
Yeah, I think it is one of the biggest brands. Anyway,
I explained that really badly.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm on pain medication.
PC Game Pass. Tell me about the PC Game Pass.
PC Game Pass. They basically
this is really cool.
That it's
we kind of mentioned it before, but yeah.
So it's kind of always been around, but they're basically saying that they're going to put more into it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could always get like Game Pass crossing over with your Play Anywhere games. So if you had Game Pass on Xbox, you still had like a fair amount of Game Pass games that you could play on PC. Mm-hmm. But this is Microsoft sort of saying that they're making the proper effort to dedicate what they're doing to PC as well. Yeah. So basically it just means that you can pay a small fee and get cool games on your PC. Like you can with regular Game Pass.
It's a bespoke one for PC. They haven't announced really any of the games for it.
And I think they've also said that they're making sure to release, like you can redeem them on Steam as well.
Ooh, that's weird, but okay.
Yeah, don't 100% quote me on that. I just remember it in the announcement.
There's a few different announcements inside this blog. So Phil Spencer's gone and posted a blog post over at news.xbox.com where he talks about the Game Pass, but then one of the other things that he talks about is that they want to bring a bunch of
so they're saying here that
games
Halo
to Steam.
The
So
Master
Halo's
Chief
coming to
Collection
Steam.
is coming to Steam,
Yep.
as well as Gears 5 will come to Steam.
Ooh,
Yep.
okay.
Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Definitive editions are also coming to Steam. And they're basically going to be looking to bring more and more. The whole idea being that they want to open up
Their catalog.
choice.
Yeah, okay.
Choice for players. They've also talked a little bit, not in this, but I have heard that but they don't touch on it in this blog post, but I have heard that they're also thinking about Epic Game Store.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was a reaction to the exclusive brouhaha, which is still ongoing.
It feels like
I mean, obviously
like
something
Xbox are trying to separate themselves from that as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, obviously decisions like this would have been made yonks before the reaction came out,
Because
I guess.
they also had that thing where they, like, a couple months back, were bringing Game Pass to Switch.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Xbox cross Nintendo. Yeah.
That wasn't Game Pass, that was live.
Was it just live?
I think it was just live that they're bringing to Switch, and it was just to act for achievements and things like that, wasn't
okay.
it? For like Minecraft.
But I mean, obviously they have got Minecraft on Switch, and they brought over Cuphead and stuff like that. So
I think they've
been weirdly spready.
I think they've just accepted that they're going to make more money if they make their games on everything.
Microsoft have been turning themselves into a services company for years and years and years, and this is just more of that.
More services.
It's interesting that they're trying to kind of maintain the Xbox brand at the same time as they're spreading it out over every service. So I guess they're turning it, like you said, they're turning it into like a Netflix or something like that instead. I don't know.
Much. Yeah.
I think it's super smart.
They're kind of keeping it away from the Microsoft brand itself, and they're very much leaning into the Xbox side of things. It makes me wonder, like, what is the logical conclusion to this? Do we just end up with Windows becoming Xbox? Is there a time in the future where those two things end up merging into one, or are they both still so separate?
Yeah, I mean, I think Windows especially is still still much more aimed at enterprise level. Yeah,
I don't think they'll ever merge. I think if anything, we'll see
a clear
Xbox maybe morph into a Netflix.
Yeah. Clear demarcation between the two divisions, and Microsoft is still very servicing businesses and places that probably don't want an Xbox brand on it necessarily.
Sure.
So
yeah, like it wouldn't feel very businessy to have like an Xbox laptop.
Sure.
It'd be cool.
I think the more interesting question is, where does this leave their hardware and that sort of stuff? Like, are they still like it sounds like they don't want to take on Sony in the terms that has become standard, right? They're not. It kind of feels like they're trying different ways to compete as the two big gorillas in the room in a different way. They're trying to
Sure.
Like, Sony obviously is at the moment the dominant player in this current console cycle, but I think that's arguable. That's probably true.
We did have a news story come out, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago, that Sony have signed up to use Microsoft's Azure services.
I heard, I believe that was some reaction afterwards came out and said that was from like Sony corporate, and like Sony IE or Sony Games or PlayStation side of things were like, what the fuck?
Idea. Yeah, completely blindsided by the Sony corporate making this choice.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Which is pretty wild. I'm interested to see how that sort of plays out.
I think what'll happen is we'll get one more generation where Microsoft does the hardware game, but I don't think they're going to be too worried about exclusive titles. I think they're going to be more trying to build their brand software-wise.
Yeah.
And then when everything goes to streaming, I think that's... I don't think they're looking to the next generation. I think they're looking to the generation after it.
Right, that sounds pretty in line with, like, Stadia and all these other streaming platforms that are starting to come out.
Yeah.
Did Amazon have any announcements yet? I haven't really been keeping up, but
who cares?
I mean, they will
Not that
eventually.
I've
They're
heard.
they're the other gorilla, the other tech giant right now.
Yeah, no, not that I've heard.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll have any space at E3. It could be interesting because they do have Amazon Game Studios.
Yeah.
That is a thing that exists.
Yep. I think we're solidly in the E3 predictions segment. We've just sort of fell into it.
Yeah,
This
so
is what's called the smoothest segue ever.
E3 is coming up. It's now like a week and a half away.
Something like that. I think it's the
In fact,
20th. Oh no, it's the 11th, 9th?
It's earlier than that, like 9th. I think
Yeah.
so.
So I think the show
I
floor
think
is
the
on the
Xbox
11th.
one is on the 12th.
But yeah, the conferences are always like 3 or 4 days beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but EA Play is kicking off like the 7th or something like that.
Yeah, but that's like
pretty soon.
before the actual event.
It is like a few days before, and then I
Yeah.
think it wraps up the day the conferences get started, or the day before the conferences get started.
It really does just feel like they're like, no,
Looking
look
at,
at us
sorry.
first, like stepping in front of a camera kind of thing. Like,
Well, I mean, if anything, it's very much EA still recognizing that E3 gathers the eyes of the world.
yeah.
And it's and I'm also getting that vibe from Sony trying to get out with the Death Stranding trailer 2 weeks before E3.
Yeah. They're trying to get ahead of the cycle.
Everything, well, yeah, exactly, because people are starting to pay attention around now, and so I think if they can get out ahead of this early news cycle, say around Judges Week, which was
I think 2 weeks ago, or maybe a week ago.
yeah, like last week I think it was.
Yeah.
Get out around that so that you can beat the cycle that comes when all of those embargoes start dropping. So I don't know. It's very interesting. But anyway, E3 is coming up, and we have there's a whole bunch of predictions out there, and rumors and bits and pieces floating about. Even some things that we already know. Things are leaking already, and we're like still way out. And it looks like Patrick's been amassing a list.
It's really just a bunch of names and stuff that has been floating around, but I guess we'll go through it really quickly. There's some rumors floating around about Microsoft having a new console codenamed Scarlet. I haven't looked too much into it just because I'm particularly unadept at tech rumors. Have any of you heard anything about that one?
I have heard that something exists.
Yeah.
As far as hardware announcements,
Yeah.
I've heard nothing.
Yeah.
If anything, we're expecting to hear more about their Project X Cloud stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
which
be
is
like,
sort of their streaming
you
stuff.
know that it exists. Like the idea of
Yeah,
it existing.
they must be
is-
planning for it. And how far are we into a cycle? We're like 5 years, 4 years? So,
Yeah, but
I
they
don't-
also did just get the X out last year.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see a new console, or anything really. about a new
yeah,
console
it might be a
this
bit
year.
early to talk about it, except behind closed doors, is my guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we'll hear anything about
Yeah.
it. I think the first we hear anything about a Microsoft console is either through some random Xbox blog at some completely random time, or we don't hear anything about it at all until E3 next year,
Yeah.
E3 2020.
Because you know that the way they like to do these things nowadays tends to be
On their
really,
own
really
terms as
short.
well. Yeah.
Well, it's also like short turnaround, right?
Yeah.
They talk to you about it, and it's going to be out that Christmas.
Yeah, I think, or
And I
it's
don't
beneath
think
your
we're
chair
there.
or some shit. I don't know. In terms
Yeah.
of Microsoft, I'm not super hype on their exclusives, mainly because I don't remember most of them.
So I did hear that they are hyping up 14 Xbox exclusives.
Exclusives, okay.
In their presentation.
So presentation exclusives.
Yeah, that's so no Xbox
Exclusives for Xbox?
Studios games.
Microsoft
Okay,
Studios
okay,
game.
okay,
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
actually,
So-
exclusive
So
to
basically,
Xbox.
what you would argue as like a platform exclusive.
Okay,
I
plus
just wonder if they're going to be like platform exclusives, though. Microsoft's been very sharey.
well, they'll come out on PC or something at least. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean,
But
even
they consider that like they don't consider Microsoft like Xbox and PC being in competition with each other.
Oh, I understand that, but I guess with how friendly they've been about a bunch of stuff lately.
it's also like, to me, it's always been like, okay, what would actually drive me to buy Microsoft services? And like, if it comes out on a PC, then I'm not really But whatever, that's just marketing guff, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's so personally for me. I think it's important that they come out with a couple of exclusives.
Yeah,
I think they need to be good. Void Bastards is, I think, a really good example of that. Like something that has, but it doesn't have the AAA.
It doesn't have the
clout
hype around it either.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like other than my circle of friends on Twitter, I haven't really seen people talking about it.
Yeah. It's very much a game
It's not
indie
the game,
darling
it's
sort
not
of point.
Yeah, you don't see it out there on the sides of buses. You don't see it. You know, there's not a marketing.
I don't think I've seen anything below a Blizzard game or a Rockstar game on the side of a Sydney bus, at least. So
the Sydney bus is so
Ubisoft.
fancy.
Ubisoft love the Sydney buses.
that's true.
I remember.
Assassin's Creed would definitely be up there. Yeah,
We definitely had Fallout trams here, I think.
yeah. Okay.
I remember seeing that.
No, I guess more what I was thinking is I don't think Void Bastards... I actually think it releasing on Game Pass, as much as that's really, really great, I think it meant that it got no advertising.
Yeah, that might be something. I don't know.
Because,
well, I mean, it could just be they don't have an advertising, like they don't have a marketing budget for it. You know, it could be any number of reasons to that. I mean, it was only just made by like a relatively small team. Who knows what sort of a budget
I guess it means
had.
also, though, that Xbox don't have much incentive to really push it themselves, though. Either.
Well, I mean, they're pushing Game Pass.
Yeah, they have to push it as part of Game Pass, so they want to...
But that's it, they're pushing Game Pass. I don't feel like I've seen them push Void Bastards in particular.
No. Well, I mean, if you think about the games that Microsoft are pushing, it's like, what, Sea of Thieves, Gears 5 is coming,
Forza,
Halo Infinite, any more Forza, although I don't even know if we're going to have a new Forza this year.
Maybe an expansion pack or something.
I couldn't give a fuck if we have a new Forza.
You
Forza
don't
Horizon
care.
4 is great. No, I really don't. The Forza games have been the same.
But you're meant to care about the drivey games.
I love racing games, but Forza has been the same fucking racing game. Forza Motorsport, in particular, has been the same game for the past 3 iterations, and they really need to change that up. And Horizon does exactly that. So I'd be totally fine if there isn't another Forza game that comes out this year. That would be completely okay with me. I don't think that will be the case because Turn 10 needs to keep themselves busy. They need to justify how expensive they are to keep around.
Yeah.
I'm
excited to see if we get any announcements from some of their newly purchased.
Yes,
that's
you're
what
right.
I want to see.
So
I forgot about those actually.
So like Obsidian.
They bought 7 studios last year.
And that was a big announcement in their E3 thing, was how many studios they bought.
Sure
so
was.
I feel like part of their presentation this year needs to be showing us what they've done with those
Very
studios.
good point. I'm interested in the State of Decay guys because State of Decay 2 came out last year and it was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted. They've been talking up an MMO ever since they were created, so who knows?
God, could you imagine Undead Labs making an MMO? It could be rad. It could be the game.
I really do like State of Decay 1, and I think State of Decay 2 is like State of Decay 1.5 to me. So anyway.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's good. It's good, but it's
2.
not as good as it's not that leap that you want necessarily.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough. I think 2 gave me what 1 didn't.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
What was the other studios that they bought? Does anyone remember off the top of their heads?
So they bought. Did they buy Team Ninja?
Yes, you're right.
They did.
Christ. But I don't remember what... anyway.
I feel like those were the 3 big ones.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of smaller ones. They've been fairly decent with indies. You know, they brought up Cuphead and stuff like that. They've got a couple of things here and there, but... yeah.
So it's the Initiative who made... what did the Initiative make? Have they made anything? No, it's an entirely new studio, so we don't know what they're making.
That's interesting.
Headed up by the guy who used to run Crystal Dynamics.
Oh, and they've still got Rare.
Yeah.
They've still got Rare in their pocket, don't they?
They do still have Rare, but they're going to be working on Sea
They're
of
Sea of
Thieves.
Thievesing right now, yeah, okay.
Ninja Theory, sorry, not Team Ninja. Ninja Theory.
I was confused the two. Damn ninjas.
Playground Games, obviously,
So
who
sneaky.
made Forza Horizon, and Compulsion Games, who made We Happy Few.
Ah, yes,
And
we're happy for you.
Wasn't Playground also rumored to be working on a game with like physical, like there was a game, a job listing ages ago, and they wanted someone who could work on like specifically like physical attacks.
Okay.
Right,
Who
interesting.
had
So-
it was really
Okay.
It was something that was really not what you necessarily think of when you think of, especially a normal car racing game.
Burnout.
Well, I was thinking Crash, but no one's ever played that, so that's just me. Is
Microsoft across Remedy as well, or are they independent? I don't remember.
Oh, Remedy, because they
Remedy.
did the
Alan Wake and Quantic Dream. Not Quantic Dream.
Remedy,
what's it fucking called?
Remedy are busy making Control.
Yeah,
Quantum Break?
That's multi-platform?
They made Alan Wake.
Is that multi-platform?
and
I can't remember.
the other one with the guy
I think so.
Quantum Break?
Yeah, Quantum Break.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
That
sounds like
a good
Point
video
Break.
game.
Oh man, if we could get Keanu Reeves in video games, that would be nice.
He's too pure for video games.
Is he?
We're not allowed to touch him.
He killed so many people in that last movie I saw him in. And then now he's in some Asian romantic comedy, which I think is really great.
That's adorable.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's in what's that movie called? Always
Be My Maybe, I think it is.
Be My Maybe. Yeah.
There was a thing
That movie seems fine.
where apparently he said during an interview that he's a lonely guy and that he hopes, like, if a love happens for him one day, that'd be cool. And, like, everyone around the world just, like, simultaneously, like, volunteered as tribute. Like, it was like a Mexican wave of people raising their hands. Like,
pick me, Keanu.
I'll love you, Keanu.
Whoa. It was like a million words.
The woe heard around
that
the
Bill
world.
and Ted sequel is out in, I don't know, a year or two. Who knows when it starts from.
Wow,
Anyway, sorry.
Keanu.
Sorry.
So...
sorry, we'll flick back to the other thing about
think-
Microsoft that's... Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, if you got more to say about Microsoft, I was going to push us onto the next one.
Oh,
but-
I was going to try and seg slightly, which is that the interesting thing with Sony not having a stage this year, it'll be interesting to see who turns up on Microsoft's stage as a third-party guy. Because I think the Devil May Cry 5 reveal, this was maybe 2 years ago now at this point, but the DMC 5 reveal was at a Microsoft stage from our memory.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird Japanese games who I normally associate with Sony that were revealed on the Microsoft stage last year.
Yeah.
And it was bizarre to me.
Yeah.
So now I don't have any preconceived notions over what studios...
Yeah.
You've just made me think about, I wonder if Sony has cost themselves anything out of not coming to E3 this year. Like, I wonder if they've cost themselves through, like, some kind of exclusivity deals. Or
I kind of doubt it
lines.
because they are still the big boys.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would be... Like, the reason they pulled out was because they didn't have enough content. Like, well, that was what they said anyway. They were like, we don't think we'll put on a good show this year, basically.
And
So,
the first-party stuff.
yeah. I mean, they want to tentpole the first-party stuff.
Anyway.
That's what I'm going to say next time I don't feel like going to work.
Basically.
I don't feel like I'd put on a good show this year,
I just don't
guys.
have enough to give you guys. Sorry.
Okay.
Going back to bed.
So,
Capcom.
yeah, I just wanted to dive
year.
into Capcom very quickly. Monster Hunter Iceborne is out, I think, later in the year, so they'll probably just have Showtime on that
Nice.
one. I think
I thought that was already out.
Dino Crisis is the name that's being bandied around mainly by fans. I don't think there's anything substantial in those rumors. People are just like, oh, they've been rebooting the shit out of things recently, and we'd like to play this one. So that's
there was a rumor going around about
that's
a
that
Dino
one.
Crisis reboot.
Devil May Cry. I think they've officially said that they're not working on DLC. But the other thing is with DMC, people have been conditioned to think that they're just lying about shit all the time. So
Yeah, fair enough.
so it's either that or they were tossing around a sequel to DMC Devil May Cry, the 2012 Ninja Theory one, I think. They were tossing that around, but who knows where that's at now that the canon is all over the place. But also, they don't really care about that. I think it might be interesting to see if they ever revisit Marvel vs. Capcom in the current environment, because Marvel obviously is king of the world, but it's the Avengers license is with Square Enix right now.
I don't think they will until that.
Yeah,
whatever that deal
and
finishes.
that last game completely sunk like a rock, which kind of sucked because it was a fairly good fighter as things went, but it just completely did not catch on the tournament scene, and losing a lot of the characters because of the movie license stuff really sucked.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I heard that was an alright fighting game.
Yeah. Resident Evil, I think, is the other series that I wanted to chat about because they've been focusing mainly on remakes for the last bit. It's been a while since 7. I think 7 had a pretty fast release cycle. It was a March release from memory, and it was announced at the E3 before, I think.
I think Resident Evil 7 actually came out in January.
Oh, right, yes. It was. I mean, Capcom has
I think it was one of the first games to come out.
Yeah,
Capcom's actually been
7
owning
come
it.
out?
Very
Capcom's been sitting on
beginning.
quarter 4 or whatever that quarter is, so... So I think
fiscal Q4.
Yeah, it might be time for them to reveal whatever the next Resi Evil is. I think
That was only a year ago.
I think it was the beginning of last year.
Oh, so it released
about a year and a
in
half.
January 2017 for Windows, and I was reading the May 2018 for Switch. That's the date that I was reading.
Yeah.
Still, that's only 2 years ago.
Well, they put remake between it, which is a different team working on that one.
That's often
I
a
think.
stagger thing
Yeah.
to get one. Yeah. Look, I don't know a lot about Resident Evil, so I probably
Neither.
shouldn't comment. But I feel like they usually take longer than this.
I think so as well, but they might tease something. But
Resident Evil is
given
very much back in vogue at the moment.
that's true. Given that they did put a
that
short
remake did very well. Got a lot of conversation happening. I mean, everybody loves Resi 2, right?
Yeah, I'll play it one day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll never play it because it's scary.
A lot of people liked Resident Evil 7 as well. They
Yeah.
thought that was a bit of a return to form.
It was an
from
and it was
a 5 and 6 that was not.
And
that
swapping around
great.
to first-person view, I think, got a lot of people, and especially when VR was in vogue around the same time as well. So people were very like, "Oh, I want to try this out," and this is like a big name. It's a big developer, and it looked pretty good.
That's
so,
right. I do remember a lot of people talking about the VR sort of
Yeah.
aspect of it. Yeah, yeah, I mean, maybe if they're trying to capitalize on momentum and everything like that.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll see an
I
announcement.
probably should say, of course, that the complete unknown is that any one of these developers or publishers could just drop a completely new thing on us at any time, and there's no way of us to know that except for rumors.
I don't think Capcom will do a new IP.
I would really like it, but yeah,
I love new IP.
I would like it. I just don't expect it at the moment. There's so much nostalgia juice going
That's
around to
true.
all sip on.
That's true. We could get a Dark Souls
Why would
sequel at any moment.
Why would I work hard on making something new?
Or Puzzle Fighter. Puzzle Fighter's good. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move to the other big
Fuck
boy
yeah,
in the
let's
room.
get a new puzzle fighter game.
Let's move to the other big boy in the room, Nintendo.
Well, we know that
hyped. I'm
Pokemon
very
Sword and Shield
hyped.
are going to be covered in the direct.
Yep,
I'm very hyped.
we think so.
So that kind of doesn't count.
Yeah, they might have show floor stuff, but who knows?
I reckon it'll be playable on the show floor.
Yeah.
I reckon they'll have a playable demo.
Mario Maker 2 is out in June, I think around the same time, or on the 20th or something like that, so they'll probably talk about it a little bit, but maybe they'll reveal whatever the next art style is, because there's a space next to...
Yeah, they'll reveal whatever like a new random feature is.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have a competition or something.
Yeah, they're definitely having they have some sort of invitational as part of their... They've got a bunch of tournaments going for their multiplayer
I know
games.
they do tournaments, but are they doing one for Maker?
Yeah, I think they're doing one for Maker, because I saw someone got, like a prominent Maker got invited to the Maker 2 invitational.
That's
Interesting.
cute.
Yeah, they're trying to remake the Wizard is my guess, but... yeah, I really like those invitationals. They actually got the camera work on Splatoon 2 working really well at some point, which is kind of nice. Anyway,
Splatoon 2 is great.
Splatoon 2,
I recommend it if especially if you're not that into video games or even esports.
Yeah.
Because it is super easy to tell who's winning.
Yep.
And it's bright and colourful and it's fun and it's a good time and everybody should get on.
Great
Splatoon
game.
2.
I really wish they would bring one of their holo concerts over to the States. That'd be cool. But
How cool would it be to go to a holo concert?
Oh my
Also,
God.
incidentally,
Yeah.
photos of me as like a young toddler are pretty much Pearl.
that's adorable.
And I'm okay with it.
Link's Awakening is out later in the year, so they'll probably have some stuff on that. Astral...
That's a really great looking
Link's
game.
Yeah.
So
It's a Zelda...
it's the one that looks like a toy box.
Yep, yep.
It's the one that looks like a little toy box.
It's a
and
remake
it's
of a...
ugly as hell.
Is it a remake of a Game Boy game? Or a Game Boy...
It
Yes.
is a remake of a...
Yeah. I think we had this conversation on a Lost Pod, so...
Yeah, I just think it's really... I really don't like the art design. It's annoying because I can look at it and be like, that's really well done. But I'm also like, and I hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love it. I think it's so good. I'm amazed it's as divisive as it is.
I'm slightly ambivalent. I've played a lot of Zelda in the last 3 weeks, so...
yeah,
Very
that's
different
fair
Zelda,
enough.
though.
Yeah, I know,
That's
but
got
like...
nothing to do with the art style, though.
Yeah,
That's just because you've played too much Zelda.
yeah. That's... I don't know. Maybe I'll have reset by November. Astral Chain is the Platinum Games one. It's out in
Looks good.
August, I think. No one knows how it plays yet, so that'll be good to get more information on. They put up some
Hopefully
key...
a demo.
Yeah.
Demo. would be
Maybe a
nice.
demo. They put out the Daemon X Machina demo really early. Oh, I forgot to put that in here. They'll probably have Daemon X Machina stuff in here. They put out a key art for it, and I immediately noticed that the female character's fucking torso was twisted so she could show both her breasts and her butt, which is classic.
The boob and butt pose.
The classic boob and butt. So, but whatever. I'm sure the gameplay will be good. Fire Emblem Three Houses, I think that's out in July. I think it's a July game. I'm going to get that. They'll probably talk more about it.
You're like, don't even care what they say in the presentation.
I don't need to. It's a Fire Emblem game, and it's on Switch, and it looks good. So I'm like, and it looks like Switch cross Persona, which is actually what I'm super into.
That's basically me with Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't need to hear anything about it.
Yeah.
I'll just...
Yeah.
I don't... Animal Crossing to me is like the most boring thing I've ever done.
I don't remember if Animal Crossing was confirmed for this one. I think... Is it a 2019 confirmation? I don't remember.
I don't think they've confirmed
I don't think
anything.
they've confirmed anything.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just picking up my heart off the floor from where Hope pulled it out and stamped on it.
I kind of understand her.
I know it's not for everybody, but for me it's so fucking charming.
It is definitely
Oh my
like
God.
a series that I'm like, I get super drawn into for a little while, and then at some point I'm just like, what am I doing? And just put it down, and then don't come back to it.
That is exactly my
This is
experience.
ridiculous.
It's like,
But when I get that feeling of this is what I'm doing, like, it's so intense. It's like, I feel dirty. I realize I've wasted the past week of my life. Like, I've got to,
You
like,
need to find
pull
love in your heart, Hope.
Dorito chips out of my rolls of fat and, like, just, like, clean myself for the first time. And then, like, when I think about what I've been doing, I'm like, this was such a boring experience.
What have I become?
I think I had a really...
The whole time I'm doing it, I'm not having fun. I'm just doing it.
But I mean,
Like,
that's interesting though, because I think that's kind of what I found in Zelda, in Breath of the Wild specifically, because Breath of the Wild is like, I actually, especially the more I play of it, the more I'm just like, this combat sucks. And it's like, not sucks, but it's just there. You do the combat, you flurry rush, whatever. You shoot a guy with an arrow, it's satisfying, but it's not mechanically complicated in the way that I generally enjoy combat-heavy games, like Souls
you're big
or
into,
something
like,
like
your
that.
platinum games and stuff.
Yeah, I'm super into that stuff. But I just like existing in that world, and I kind of get the same beginning of that feeling with Animal Crossing. But the problem is, at some point with Animal Crossing, I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily happen. That didn't happen with Zelda as much. So
For me, Animal Crossing is like fighting back entropy. It's like trying to maintain order in a chaotic world.
To me, it's like slipping into entropy. I get that what am I doing feeling, like someone hits me in the face with it with a sledgehammer.
anyway, suffice to say, Nintendo has no idea whether or not they'll be here. They'll have Animal Crossing at E3 or not.
They probably will. People have been begging for
Yeah.
it, and it's been long enough.
I wonder if they'll be theming the whole
Nintendo
thing
should
around it.
because they always theme their booth.
Well,
right?
they did the last couple
They
times
could-
just because they had like a tentpole
It would
game.
be so easy to theme a booth around an Animal Crossing town.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, that would be easy.
Yeah.
And you could collect fruit and swap it with people. And I sound like I like Animal Crossing, and that is not true. Just like to go on the
I
record here
love
about
the music. It's so good for sleeping.
Yeah, that's about all it's good for.
Yeah, because it's a 3 a.m. town theme. What else are you going to do? It's for 3 a.m.
It frustrates me so much when I think about the time that I wasted.
So you think that's bad? The first time I played the DS one, I was on a fucking plane, so I started it up. I'm like, okay, I'm really excited to play this game. I've never played Animal Crossing before. And you get up, and then like about 20 minutes in, it's like, okay, that's all you can do for today. I'm like, what?
That's
Put it
right.
down and go
it
do something
stops
else.
you.
Yeah, and you just
He was on a plane.
Or go and collect bugs, or do something.
Anyway.
Speak to the friendly folks. Hey, Cadence of Hyrule
Yep.
is apparently coming out like really soon.
Yeah, I think they actually announced a proper release date. It looks like it's the 20th of June or something like that. Pretty close. I'm pretty excited for it. I really liked Necrodancer. I really liked Top Down Zelda. So this has two things.
I never played Crypt of the Necrodancer, but I did like the look of it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm a bit weary about is that it's a roguelike, and generally I think I've come to believe that I don't particularly like roguelikes, but I'll play something that is got a good enough gimmick, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Neat. New mainline Zelda.
That's just
I don't
that's
think
just a
that'll
complete guess based off the fact that we haven't had anything out of the Breath of the Wild team for about 2 years, and Monolith Soft, which is the support studio on Zelda, is hiring up as well as having their own Xenoblade stuff, and they were hiring up specifically for a mainline Zelda project.
Yeah, I 100% believe one is in the works.
I
don't think we'll hear anything.
Yeah, in terms of getting an announcement, that's mainly just wishful thinking on my part.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Like that's a good wish.
I was kind of like, oh, maybe they'll do an interim game, like a sort of like a, what do you call it, a Majora's Mask to the Ocarina of Time. So like something using Breath of the Wild assets but repurposed or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But
that would be cool. I'd be down for that.
But yeah, nothing concrete aside from Monolith self-having hiring announcements. Retro Studios, we know that Metroid Prime 4 was delayed and rebooted, despite the logo treatment at the last E3, I think it was.
Yeah,
they handed it off to a new studio.
Yeah, so they handed it off, and then in, I think, was it like the end of last year, or maybe about half, or maybe at the beginning of this year, at some point, official word came, like, very rare occurrence for Nintendo or anyone really to say, hey, listen, we know we announced this, but we're rebooting everything on this, and shit.
Yeah, and handing it over to a new studio.
I have a lot of
and
respect for that, though.
Please understand.
I think they handed it back to Retro. Wasn't that the deal? I thought it was...
They took it off. Whoever was working on it at the time, they were like, this is not good enough.
Yeah.
Next.
Anyway, I think that's probably got the Metroid pin for the next 2 years or whatever.
Before this news, I thought we would definitely get more Metroid news this year, but when this came out, I was like,
Yeah, I wonder if I could see room for like a remaking of something, maybe Super Metroid or something, in the same way that they have.
That'd be great.
In the same way,
I'd be so happy with that.
In the same way they have on the other hand, maybe they won't touch it because Super Metroid's fucking incredible even to this day. I don't know.
Yeah, but like, it would be really nice to play it in an updated version for someone like myself.
Yeah, I think it would be
who,
pretty cool.
You know, doesn't always get along with the old school thing so much.
Yeah.
Because I love all the games that I've ever played with its DNA.
Yeah.
And so I'd really love to play the original one day.
I actually found it worth it to go back, and I played it on Wii U, I think, because they had the whatever ambassador program or something. I don't know, but I played Link to the Past and Super Metroid on that, and it was really good. So it still holds up surprisingly well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I want a new one. Make it pretty, please.
Yeah, I'm sure all the Pokemon news will be dealt with in the Direct beforehand. I would just like to say, please make Pokemon Snap 2. What are you doing? There's so many fucking Pokemon.
Right.
There's 3D engines. You can make a camera. Everyone's got a camera.
They've got a camera in the labo thing.
Make Pokemon Snap, you sons of bitches!
They've made Pokemon Nap, but not Pokemon Snap.
I'm
so sorry.
That's okay.
What would you have people take pictures of?
Everything. All of them.
Hyrule.
Like, Pokemon. Oh my god.
Yes, Pokemon Cross Hyrule. Let's go.
Yes, do it. I would like this, please.
Actually, like an open world RPG Pokemon Snap is my fucking dream. Holy shit. Oh, James, what have you done?
I've set you free, friend.
It's a beautiful dream.
Let your mind fly.
Well, my mind's going to fly to Bayonetta 3, which is announced, has had nothing except that teaser trailer for about a year now, I think.
I just want another trailer. I just want another.
Yeah.
I just want to watch her dance and shoot
was it last
things and
E3?
step
I
on
think
me.
it was some sort of direct where they just dropped it. Some sort of teaser trailer. I think it was after E3 from memory. But
was it in one of the
all they announced was that it exists, and I think Kamiya is supervising. He's not directing, so it's going to be interesting because without his attention, Bayonetta 2 was, in my mind, a lesser product, but that's just because I'm a fucking crazy person.
A lot of people really liked 2.
2 is great from a spectacle perspective, yeah.
I've heard people that I know to be fans of those kinds of games, and they say 2 is better than 1.
They're wrong, but...
Yeah, and I mean, they probably are,
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I much prefer 1 gameplay-wise, but I recognize that Bayonetta 2 looks better, has a way more comprehensible story. It has lighting, which is nice, because Bayonetta 1's lighting is awful. But no, it's like, the thing is, for these types of games, if you just have a bloody palace mode where you literally are just fighting characters in a box room, that is like the pinnacle of that type of game to me. So
yeah.
Like, everything else is fluff as far as I'm concerned.
I just want a sexy trailer, please, and thank you.
We'll probably get one because Bayonetta is extremely sexy. Switch ports.
The power is getting naked.
Yeah. It's hair, all sorts of stuff. Switch ports. This is the perennial stuff. There's still things to mine for Switch ports. So Galaxy maybe.
Do you mean Mario Galaxy?
Switch ports aren't really something to announce at E3.
I think you just toss them off, because the way I feel is that Nintendo really, like, more than any other company, Nintendo really treats E3 as just another venue for a direct.
Sure,
like bigger directs, sure, but like not really. Like
they pull out the treehouse.
Yeah,
and I also think that there is a lot of public desire for games to be ported to Switch.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are tons of people out there who their main thing that they want to see is some old game that they love ported to Switch.
Yeah.
So I think it's enough of a big deal to potentially have segments about it on the E3 stage.
Yeah, especially for stuff that Nintendo regards as a classic, like Galaxy, which I think is probably one of their like more modern classics.
Very well received,
So good.
Mario. I hate them because they make me sick. But
I'm not a huge Mario fan generally, so I'm sort of like...
I'm not like super happy with Mario, 3D Mario games, generally speaking. But for me, it's just one of those things where my brain was wired in a way that did not enjoy the turning of the planets.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And so
really
like I
does.
was physically like unable to play them, which is weird because I do not have many games that do that to me at all.
I'm not a big fan of platformers in general, but Mario Galaxy is fucking wonderful.
I would like to play it one day, so that's why I'm like that. And I'm not going to go back and dig out my Wii, that sort of thing.
And like I would like them to port it because there's every chance that on a new system or something like that, that issue would be solved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful 101 is just my personal pet thing because Platinum's been working with them a lot. I'm pretty sure Wonderful 101 only got created because Kamiya and Iwata probably had a meeting at some point and they were just like, I really like video games. And Iwata's like, I really like video games. So they just made that. It sold literally 7,000 copies in the first week and sunk like a rock. So if it's ever going to live again, it has to be by Nintendo's weird patronage system.
That's super cute.
It's a fucking fantastic game. It's one of my... It is an incredible story.
You've got The Witcher on here.
That's a rumor that was floating around that there was some sort of Witcher... let me see if I can find that again. I really should have dropped a link on that one.
I don't think the Switch can handle The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I see a report from CBR here which says... alleged Chinese ad for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt surface online, but who knows about China?
I mean, like if they do, like if you just think about how that might look for a second. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the screenshots of how Mortal Kombat 11's Crypt looks.
God awful.
On the Switch compared to how it looks on consoles and the PC.
Yeah.
No.
It's night and day difference.
Yeah.
And it's like it's below like low level of detail quality.
Yeah.
It's like just fog.
That's just on Mortal Kombat.
And it's awful. It looks absolutely terrible. And if The Witcher 3 comes out on the Switch, it will look terrible and it will probably not do The Witcher 3 any favors.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like, a lot of people I've seen with this argument have been like, oh, but Skyrim came to the Switch.
Skyrim is a game
old
from
as fuck.
2010 or 2011. Like,
that's the thing. People forget how old Skyrim is. And conversely, how beautiful The Witcher 3 is and how full that world is.
Yeah, I think slightly more comparable might be Zelda, but Zelda has, it was developed in-house, basically, so...
It was developed in-house, and it's also nowhere near as busy.
Yeah, like, it does a lot with art direction. Like, Breath of the Wild is crazy. This one is a new rumor, but it has been... it's got a lot of screenshots supporting it. Basically, GameStop over in the US has a whole bunch of additional SKUs. That's... What is that? Shelf code units? I don't know.
So,
SKUs,
I don't know what it
Anyways,
means.
products for the shelf,
models.
It's your barcode number, essentially.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So about 15 new things have been added, and that's not counting stuff that's already announced, like Zelda later in the year and stuff like that. So
it could be like different colors, or
it could be anything from fucking amiibos to new.
Shit, all of them could be amiibos.
Probably could just be 15 amiibos. But I think they're specifically listed as Switch game SKUs. I think is the idea.
Interesting.
But anyway, that is... Yeah. Oh, and now it says 21 SKUs, so that's new.
All right.
But anyway, who knows?
The rumor is evolving.
Oh, right, I forgot to mention that I also want to see Tokyo Mirage Sessions on Switch just because, it's fucking great.
Just because why not?
Yeah, because
Sure.
well, I mean, what I really want is Persona 5, but Atlas has made it abundantly clear that they're just going to put a Musou game on there instead. So the bastards.
Persona 5R is still going to be good.
I wish it had a female player character. Anyway,
Yeah, she just is a normal character.
she's a pretty cool
That's
normal
sad.
character.
She does seem cool. I want Jet Set Radio Future to come to the Switch.
Ooh, that's a good
Jet
pick.
Set Radio.
I could go in-
mostly because I just want that to come to get a HD remaster in general.
Yep.
And then that sells really well, and then I get a new one.
Yep. Give. Oh God, what's his name? Nakamura? No. Give the composer guy more work. He's so fucking good.
Naganuma. Hideki Naganuma.
Yeah. I could also go for some Crazy Taxi, but I just love Crazy Taxi.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, Sony.
But this isn't about dreams.
Speaking about dreams, Sony. Sony's not turning up this year, but they'll probably be around. They'll be floating around the periphery in some way.
So I've heard that there's like people who normally go from Sony just like straight up not going.
That's pretty interesting because
Like maybe there will be no one from Sony there.
do we know anything about Ghost of Tsushima, like in terms of projected dates or anything like that?
All I know about it is I want it.
If it's out between now and next E3, then I guess they just must feel confident enough to just be like, "Hey, we're gonna do this with a Gamescom or something instead." I don't know.
Or they're just going to do it.
Or they're just going to do it, yeah.
State of
thing
play.
Yeah.
that they've
They'll
been
just do
doing
another state
lately.
of play.
That's true. I don't know how effective those are for them yet, but they're big enough that it's probably fine.
I mean,
like-
they had like millions of people tune in to watch that stupid fucking Death Stranding stream that they've done. That was
Death
just a whole bunch
Stranding-
of hands.
It's super huge, though.
Yeah, that's Kojima.
It was-
Yeah, I think that's more Kojima than it is Sony.
okay, but do you? So wait, are you both saying that Kojima is bigger than Sony than PlayStation?
I think
in
for
terms,
getting
in terms of
to
people
watch
on
something
Twitter,
like that. Yeah.
on the internet who want to see his stuff, maybe.
I think as in terms of like online people who are going to click on something to watch it, I think
you're both fucking crazy. I think like the Sony is like
maybe
Sony
they're not. So
drives
maybe
people up the
Kojima
wall
isn't bigger
on the
than
internet.
Sony.
Sony
but
has like the most insane. Actually, no. Xbox has some pretty insane fanboys, but my goodness.
I guess the way I look at it is I think Sony plus Kojima is a huge
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
Sure.
And I think that they have the only other game that's going to be able to be as successful like that is going to be The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want with that and announce it however the hell they like, and that will do just fine.
Rumors around Last of Us 2 is that it's just been pushed back to 2020.
I would like more videos where the girls kiss.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Sure.
that
I'm down
maybe
with that.
It is
they
Pride
should
Month.
do more of that. Yeah,
It is.
get on it.
Yeah, so they're not on the floor, I think, right? They don't have space at all. And
No,
they're,
Sony is not there.
and they're
at
definitely well. I wouldn't see them turning up on someone else's stage. That seems crazy to me. So,
all. Yeah, no, and I don't know.
although I mean,
Like, what would they do? What would they show?
I don't know. I mean, they might do a cross promotion thing, like Nintendo's turned up
Where
on
is-
Ubisoft's stage before.
Where is
so,
Bungie going to show off Destiny? Damn it.
the PC gaming
Maybe
show.
they'll show it off on PC gaming show, or they could do it on Xbox stage.
They just leave it alone.
Oh man, is Devolver doing a counter programming thing this year?
Devolver is doing a presentation.
Devolver will be there.
In the parking lot across the street?
Someone I know who runs a wrapping business has been asked about preparing an office across the road from the LA convention.
Exclusive. Bah, 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 bah.
Yeah.
Man, I just want another video where that woman does things.
Yeah, the E3 prezos are always pretty wild.
Yeah.
EA.
EA. EA.
What are they doing? Where's Anthem?
Where's Anthem?
They're not.
I don't-
Where's Anthem?
I think they're doing. Aren't they doing a stream?
Where's
for
BioWare?
Anthem? Are they doing a stream for Anthem this week, talking about like the Cataclysm stuff?
I think they've got a
they just
cataclysm
getting
due this
people to
week.
press
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe
I'm
that
being
whole
slightly
thing is just a
disingenuous because I don't
Cataclysm.
really care about Anthem in any way. So
I'm kind of
Yeah, look, Anthem to me, I was never really going to be for me anyway, but the fact that it's been so incredibly fizzly, they've either got to have a big announcement or they've kind of got to ignore it.
Yeah.
I don't think they can't really do much in between.
EA actually have
a full streaming schedule out.
Yeah, they've actually put out their streaming schedule.
Oh, that's right. I got the email for that.
So,
which is going to be so they're going to kick off with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
I am actually interested in that one. It's been a long enough time since, I mean, not since Star Wars games, but since Star Wars games that I'm interested in, that I kind of want to
like
see
single-player Star Wars experiences.
Yeah, you know. But I just want to see like I don't know, I've been thinking about Jedi Knight 2 a lot recently, and I'm just sort of like...
This is the Respawn game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fallen Order? Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
so,
and I have a lot of faith in Respawn.
So, is that the one? Or is that a different one? I don't
know.
know.
No. Respawn made Apex
Respawn
Legends and Titanfall.
Oh, right.
Titanfall.
Okay. I'm still...
Amy Hennig was working on the previous Star Wars game that got canned.
Oh, son of a... Okay. Where's she now? Is she at Google? Or is she at Amazon?
No, that was Jade Raymond.
Oh, I'm so fucking bad at this.
Amy Hennig is actually off making a small game somewhere.
Fantastic.
I think.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, this one comes... I mean, with Apex Legends and Titanfall as pedigree, that's pretty good for Jedi Fallen Order in terms of
how
general...
it plays.
Yeah, but who knows about the rest of it.
I think that's going to say a lot of good things about how it feels to move as a Jedi, and I think that's quite important. You want to feel smooth and slick and cool.
And
I think...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that if nothing else, I think you can you can almost cash that check already, but I don't know what Titanfall... so their single-player campaign for Titanfall was really, really good, but it wasn't like a huge arcing story.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they'll go for that for a Star Wars game. I don't know how Respawn...
Well,
I don't know.
I wonder if they bring in, like, associated writers or something like that. I don't know to what extent LucasArts maintains control over stuff like that.
I think they have a pretty firm grasp.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because it is...
So that's my only concern. I'm pretty convinced that it's going to be fun to play.
Yeah, they've got a fairly stricter view of canon these days, I think, in terms of expanded universe stuff, and they're trying to manage it before it goes too unwieldy, I think is the belief. But anyway, that'll be kind of cool. And Apex Legends got some stuff going. That'll be interesting to see what they do there.
The person that they've listed as the host for the Apex Legends stream is Alex Goldenboy Mendez. He's an esports commentator and host.
Yeah.
So that makes me think that Apex Legends is probably like they're going to be leaning into the esports angle of it for this. They may have
presentation bit,
like that. Yeah.
Battlefield 5. I have no idea where they're at with that anymore.
Just making some more stuff for Battlefield 5, I guess.
Yeah.
There's another FIFA game.
And that's also by the same guy.
Yeah. Where are we at in the Sims 4 expansion pack cycle? Are we at the bit where it's good yet?
They just did the thing where it was free.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I already owned it, so
I bought it a while ago on some wild whim. But
I bought it when it first came out to review it, and I remember just being so disappointed because my sim, like I tried to do the thing where you just kind of you point them in the right direction, but you leave them alone to see what sort of chaos would happen.
This came out in that period where everything that EA made was slightly backwards.
Yeah,
It came out at sort of at the same time as their SimCity.
Yes,
oh really?
Correct.
Oh wow, okay, that's actually a while ago.
And it felt like it released with no guts in it. Like it felt like a really, really bare bones Sims game.
Yeah.
And I've heard that all the expansion packs that have come out since have really fleshed it out.
Yeah,
and
it's
made
definitely
it a lot
better now.
Yeah.
I've played quite a bit of The Sims 4.
I played some a while ago with some expansion packs, and it seemed pretty good, but it wasn't quite what I wanted yet. And then I'm wondering if we're at the point where they're just like going to throw up their hands and either reboot it or reboot to Sims 5 or say The Sims, it's now games as a service thing, or I mean it practically is already, but
that would make a lot of sense, really, wouldn't it?
But it's because they always build up systems and then they just layer systems on systems on systems, and it always comes to some sort of weird memory clog, or stuff starts working weirdly, or it breaks all your mods or some bullshit.
And then they've got to release a new game.
Yeah. That's the point where they just reset and they're like, oh, because it's a new one, you can't expect to have pools anymore or some shit. So
That's what they did with this one. Like, there were no babies or children.
yeah, that's
like I think kids were born and they were like automatically like 10.
Yeah.
And no pools, and I was like, well, what is the point?
EA streaming schedule. Do they have like a bit at the beginning where they're just going to be like, oh, we're going to... Do they have like an overview section, or is it literally just like, oh, you have to watch the whole thing to get everything? They don't seem to have... they don't seem to have just a presentation. They have a countdown, but who knows what that is.
No, they're doing a dedicated,
They've got a lineup schedule.
Yeah.
They've got times for every game.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like half-hour chunks here. So,
yeah, that's actually...
Okay,
that could be pretty
that's
accurate.
not too bad. Like, that's extended, but still. Anyway, I guess the other thing from EA, I might be forgetting some stuff, but again, I just... Like, Dragon Age 3, I think, was a title card a year ago? Or maybe 2?
What?
Sorry, what was it? Dragon Age... Some sort of new Dragon Age thing was a title card at some point.
Man, I don't remember that.
Yeah, because it was a title card and then it sunk without a trace, so...
Really?
I think so.
Wow, I don't remember anything about any Dragon Age being announced.
Neither, but I also really
Yeah, Dragon
like
Age 4, Open
Inquisition.
Secret. Dragon Age official trailer, 2018 Game Awards. Yeah, that's right. That was it was literally just a title card or some BS.
That's right, yeah.
Given the recent reporting about BioWare, I don't know where they're going to be at. It's very very up
It
in the
depends
air.
on if they've
It's very
really
early.
getting them to focus on trying to save Anthem, or if they're happy for them to move on to making something else and just cut their losses on Anthem. Just really doesn't sound like EA to cut their losses on anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, with BioWare being the studio that it is, like, I don't see them... Although, was this split across 2 studios?
Yeah, I think so. There's two.
There's like one in Austin and one in...
There's 2 BioWare studios, one in Montreal.
One in Montreal,
I think.
yeah. I think
It's usually Quebec or Montreal for the tax credits, but...
Okay, interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Okay.
That could be fine. It could also just
fizzle.
Into BioWare. Like, really hope it doesn't come down to that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It could be way too early for that. Also.
Yeah.
When you consider their recent past.
Yeah. And the amount of manpower they have left to work on stuff anyway.
Yeah,
I know that Mass Effect is definitely on a hibernation cycle right now, so... So let's roll forward to Bethesda, who still have a conference of their own, I believe. So
they do, yeah. They will be there.
Yeah, so that's interesting. What studios have they picked up any studios recently, or are they?
I don't think.
Are they still relying on themselves and id and
They're
Machine Games?
Still, that's it. They're still rolling with what they've got.
I don't think we'll see anything from Starfield or the New Elder Scrolls.
It was.
They were title cards in the last E3, and it very much felt like they were thrown up because they knew they'd get an applause.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. So I think what we'll probably get if they build on that is maybe we'll get like a 5-second teaser, like something really short.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be like, those games are several years away.
Yeah. Eternal.
We get Todd Howard.
Do we get?
When's Eternal coming out? That should be soon.
Todd Howard.
Of course, we get Todd Howard.
Do we get Andrew WK?
That's telling us about Rage 3.
Doom. Eternal.
Doom Eternal.
I think that's confirmed. Yeah.
That's up on the hotel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's definitely a confirmation sign.
Yeah, right.
I'm interested to see if they talk about 76 because, from what I understand, 76 is having a slight resurgence. Like,
I think they will absolutely talk about 76 because they'll want to have a platform where they can tell everyone that it's not dead. And there are people actually having fun in there, which is always nice. So that's what we want to see, really.
Yeah. I would be annoyed if Fallout went into the MMO vault forever, but I don't know if that...
won't.
Yeah, because like Elder Scrolls Online exists, but that doesn't mean that Elder Scrolls is locked there forever either, so...
Yeah, I don't think so. I think those games are incredibly popular single-player experiences, and I think that's what Bethesda does well.
It would be nice to see if they could get someone who can fucking write to get a Fallout game out. That would be nice. I just don't like the mainline ones.
Yeah, I don't like them either.
Yeah, I don't know about Elder Scrolls. We are quite a distance from the last couple of Elder Scrolls, but...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything.
They showed a title card last year. Like I said, I think that maybe the most that we'll see will be like a 10-second teaser.
I'm wondering which will be for Starfield or Elder Scrolls, but anyway.
Starfield.
Yeah, you think?
I think Starfield will be first.
So you think Elder Scrolls would be like, this is our way of marking a new generation or some bullshit?
I think Elder Scrolls is 5 years away.
Okay.
Wow, that's sad. I guess.
I mean, it's a long time between Elder Scrolls, so
they don't make games quickly anymore. Bethesda, they can't. The sort of games that they make
that's too sprawling.
Known for making,
they make very detailed worlds.
Yeah. Yep. When's Youngblood out for Wolfenstein? Is that later this year?
Soon.
I feel like so that hasn't been. Has that been announced?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw some new media about it recently, but
that was announced at last E3.
Oh no! Like the release date.
Oh. Sorry.
I don't think it has.
No, it still says 2019. I think this one would be close to being done.
Yeah, I think so because it looked pretty.
26th of July.
Did they have a gameplay trailer last year? I don't remember. I know they had fairly strong cinematic stuff, but
I think they had gameplay stuff included. I'm not sure.
Anyway, it looks like a 1.5, like a 0.5 sort of thing, not a sequel.
Yeah, it seemed to be potentially using the same assets. Like, it looked similar enough. Wolfenstein was fantastic, as we discussed earlier.
I really liked it.
One thing that I'm super keen on with Youngblood is it's actually been co-developed by Arcane Machine Games.
Oh, I didn't realize it had been co-developed. Cool.
Which is rad, because Arcane makes some cool shit.
They got that Ironstorm blood. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's still there, but...
Dishonored.
Yeah, and I think I wrote that in just now because it suddenly occurred to me that it's been a while since we've had Dishonored 2, and it's
that'd be interesting.
DLC.
Yeah. Dishonored...
I think they're a really cool world, so I'd like to see more in that vein.
Yeah, Dishonored's always been a bit of a prestige brand, I think, that they're trying to push, but, like, it's good, and it's Bethesda is not a hugely, in terms of titles that they can pull out, they don't have deep pockets, so...
It depends what Arcane is doing, I think. Yeah. Because that's the kind of game that they make.
Yeah, and if they're... Like, I think that they'd be pretty much done with Youngblood and helping on that. So I expect to see something new announced from Arcane. I don't know if it'll be another Dishonored. I kind of hope it... Maybe if it is, maybe it's quite different. Like, it jumps ahead in time a lot or something like that. Like, I actually think a Cyberpunk Dishonored would be cool as shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just think they could do a lot of cool things with that lore and that world.
Yeah, I'm kind of over the oil punk aesthetic at the moment, so that would be cool. But I'm also over the cyberpunk aesthetic, so who knows where they want to take it.
Jeez, can't make you happy. You just don't like punk.
Make a Discworld game. That's what will make me happy.
Yeah.
Okay, Discworld Assassin's Creed, except better. But anyway, sorry. Square Enix.
But the Assassin's Guild?
Yeah, Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I think probably more Final Fantasy VII remake stuff will show up.
Something from the open world would be nice.
I think
it's not in Midgard.
I don't know. I think they're episoding it, so probably that whole first episode will be Midgard based on the old game's pacing.
I just can't believe that all they've done is shown off stuff from the first episode. And I also couldn't believe... Can you imagine if all they've made in the last 4 years since the announcement, is it? Is Chapter 1...
It's possible that they...
The first 7 hours of FF7?
It's possible that they might have tossed it off, or they might have done a thing where they're like, okay, we have to develop the engine that can handle the entirety of the series, and then... develop it all.
Then they announced it way too early.
They absolutely announced it way too early. It was like a emergency.
They have to have something this year, otherwise I really think it's just gonna start petering. It's gonna become a Shenmue.
Yeah, I think if they don't release like at least the episode 1 by the end of the year, or like in early next year, it's gonna be really it's gonna go bad for them. I think Final Fantasy other stuff. I don't know. I know 14 is still chugging along quite nicely. They've ended the 15 sagas with the big. I don't remember. There's like apologies or some shit. I don't remember.
Totally fizzled out. They promised 4 DLCs and they said they only released one of them and the rest of them were cancelled. Yeah. And they were and I think their main the lead designer has left.
Yeah. So somehow 14 is insulated from all of that, but 16, who knows if that's going to exist, or they'll have some side projects.
I think it's a bit soon for a 16 to be announced.
I think so as well, given the production overhead on current Final Fantasies, but who knows? They might throw up a title card or some bullshit. We're about 2 years out from Nier Automata, I think. So if Yoko Taro is still interested in working with Square Enix, and Square Enix is still interested in giving Yoko Taro money, that could be cool.
I love his entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. That's really just being hopeful, because the linkage between games is pretty much just that they would only really have Nier on it so that everyone knows it's by the Yoko Taro guy. So... I mean, like, literally, I think so. Nier 1 is spun out of a bad ending out of Drakengard 3, and otherwise has no relation to the rest of that world, but still has a massive relation to the rest of the world. So
just so random.
Marvel's Avengers was hyped up by the official Marvel's Avengers Twitter account as coming out at the Square Enix conference, so that will actually be something to have all eyes on, I think.
Interesting.
I don't know what it is. I don't think anyone knows what it is at the moment, besides possibly Judges Week, but who knows?
Dying Light 2 could be sweet.
Yeah.
So that's got Chris Avellone.
Yeah.
Doing some writing for it, along with had some cool. I remember their presentation from last year being about.
It was actually got my attention despite myself.
Interesting mechanics. And some interesting ideas. The way that they were talking about it just really sold it.
Yep. Okay. That's it in terms of stuff I can think of immediately off the top of my head for Square Enix. That's likely to come out.
Tomb Raider game?
Oh, Tomb Raider. You think?
I think Tomb Raider's on hold for a little while.
Yeah.
I think Lara needs to just have a bit of a rest.
She needs
and go
a break.
on a holiday.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Hitman is not Square Enix anymore, but I'll add them to the bottom just to have something to write. Ubisoft. Watch Dogs 3, I think, is being bandied around a lot at the moment, and the credible rumours seem to say it's in London, which is a fairly decent deal.
That would be rad, and that would also be a really cool setting because London is like
CCTV hell,
surveilled cities in the world, so it could play in really nice.
Plus Brexit, plus current social media. Very interesting potential. We
should do it in China.
I tried to like Watch Dogs 2. I didn't, unfortunately, but I'll give it a chance. Assassin's Creed.
Did you like it more than 1?
I didn't play 1
I hated
because
1.
I knew I wouldn't like 1.
1 was so terrible.
Yeah, 2 can't.
I've heard that 2 is like way better, but I've not had the opportunity.
Okay, I played a little bit of it and I wasn't sold, unfortunately. Assassin's Creed.
It's fine.
What are we up to? Odyssey came out end of last year. When was that?
Yeah.
I think December, November-ish, right?
Yes. I want to say a bit earlier, but
I don't know. Somebody says Assassin's Creed, and I just glaze over.
Yeah, I don't know where they're at with their yearly cycle thing.
I haven't actually played that one, but I still have a lot of love in my heart for the Assassin's Creed series. Maybe I should.
I kind of like. But I don't know why. I think it was just a time sort of thing, but I really do like 2 and Brotherhood, and kind of like Revelations, but not really.
See, I adored 1. All the way up until 3, and 3 was terrible, and 3 came out during a really bad breakup for me, and I was expecting to lean on. I was also expecting to lean on it, like to be like something to lose myself in. I knew it was coming out, like while I was still dealing with the breakup stuff, and then it wasn't good, and so there's a lot of resentment between myself and Assassin's Creed 3. But then Black Flag was.
People really liked Black Flag. I never did play that one.
It was so great. Anyway, I've been hurt and loved by the Assassin's Creed series. We have a rocky, tumultuous relationship.
Yeah, I dip my toe in every once in a while, and I usually dip right back out. So
see, my issue is that I'm not very good at dipping my toe in. I'm quite good at like
fucking power bombing.
Power bombing in, and then being like, "This is shit," or "I love this."
Okay,
but. In the Division 2, there's an Easter egg where there's a poster, and it's got the words Valhalla on it, and it's a dude that sort of looks Assassin's Creed. He kind of looks like a Templar to me, and he's holding a piece of Eden, so the apple, the orb that was really prominent in the 2 series, and it's just very clearly a little nod to Assassin's Creed, and a lot of people speculate that. That's probably going to be a hint about the new Assassin's Creed game.
Maybe.
Whether or not they're ready to talk about it is totally another thing, but there's pretty much always Assassin's Creed at Ubisoft conferences.
Yeah, I will be, like, whether it's a mainline or some sort of side project is the question for me. Although that's kind of blurring the lines with that anyway. Anyway, Rabbids, I don't know, they usually have a Rabbids thing.
I hate Rabbids. They're like the original Minions.
I think they are.
And French.
I would actually be interested to see if the Nintendo Rabbids crossover goes anywhere further.
I wonder if they do any more Mario plus Rabbids stuff.
Mario plus Rabbids was great. I was so mad at how good that was.
Yeah.
Especially because the Rabbids were legitimately funny, and I've got it. Like, I really don't want to find them funny. Like, I'm sitting there trying not to laugh.
Why am I enjoying this?
You. Stop this. And whereas, like, Rabid Peach is just a delight, and I'm like, oh dear. I put up a new 2D Rayman.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of cool.
Mostly just wishful thinking, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I haven't really heard a lot mention of them since the last. I don't even remember what that subtitle for the last one was. I did enjoy the first time they brought him back, I guess, with the new UbiArts platforming engine or whatever the hell it was called.
So Rayman Origins was the first one, and then they released Rayman Legends, which was meant to be exclusive to the Wii U.
And then it wasn't because the Wii U was garbage.
And then it wasn't. And then the Wii U game was finished like a year in advance, but they wanted to release them across all platforms at once. So then we had to wait a year longer to get Rayman Legends at all.
Yeah.
And the Wii U version was actually better because it used the gamepad. It was such a great game. So good. But then it ported to everything, which is still great because
everyone could play it, yeah. But, I like it because it has lums in it.
I love lums.
Yeah.
Apparently they're pronounced looms, like luminosity, and not lums,
too bad.
like dumb.
They're lums.
Which is why I will always call them lums.
It's fantastic.
Yes, correct.
They're pronounced GIF.
Yeah. But I think they're due a new one. I don't know if they're making one. I just want them to make one.
Are they still Are they still all in on the Ubi indie initiative sort of stuff? I feel like I haven't heard much of them.
I feel like
since
I haven't
like
heard
3 years
about that for a
ago.
long time. Like Child of Light was one of those.
This War of Mine. Oh no, sorry, not This War of Mine. What was it? The French one. I
feel like
I don't remember
any of like the indie stuff that they've dealt with. Didn't they just like come in and snap it up and buy this, like bring the studios in house and go, "You are now Ubisoft."
Why do they sound German?
No, that was French.
What are you talking about? They're not fucking Germans.
That was a bad. I've spoken to enough backpackers. I know that's French.
Okay. They've said there's no Beyond Good and Evil, which makes me super sad.
It makes me suspicious. Like, what the hell? Like, when they came out last year and there was just tons and tons of Beyond Good and Evil, and I was like, what? I mean, not tons, but like relative to the amount that we'd seen ever before.
That whole zooming in on a planet thing, that, like, I've never called bullshit so hard and so loud on something I've seen.
Anyway, I can respect them being like, we need to keep this behind the curtain for another year or whatever.
But yeah, it does make me, like, I am very excited about the prospect of a new Beyond Good and Evil game, and I really think the environments and the characters look really cool and engaging, and I want it. And the fact that they're pulling back and not showing it makes me both sad and a little bit anxious about it.
I count that project as not existing until it's out, basically. It's one of those long-term ones.
I wish I had the fortification to do that, because I think I would save myself a lot of heartbreak.
Yeah. I think, and then just finally, very quickly, we'll see what's up with The Division. The Division 2 is trucking along quite nicely, even though it's not political in any way.
They just released their first raid.
Definitely no politics in The Division 2.
Yep, none at all.
Apolitical.
They've just released their first raid, which requires like a full team of like 8 players to be able to do. Like, it's really, really, really hard. A lot of people have actually called for them to make it easier. Like, it's hard
Wow,
enough that
okay.
people... And it relies on a lot of communication, which is part of the issue. Like, you could not play it with strangers. Like, there's things like you've got to tell the other player which monitor you're seeing that's lit up so they can interact with the same one. So there's stuff like that happens.
Cool.
And that just came out like a week or two ago, so maybe a bit more. I think they'd be addressing, like, they'll talk about what they've done, obviously, since the game launched, and they'll probably be talking about the next one of those.
Yep. Okay, and now we're finally in the miscellaneous category. I don't think we've missed any big publishers, have we? I think we're okay.
Not that I can think of.
Obviously,
If we
there's the
have
PC
them,
Gaming Show
they
and Devolver and stuff like that, but they usually show one-offs or one of these or something like that. Okay, so the big gorilla, I think, is probably, in terms of miscellaneous, probably Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
And we know that's going to be there.
Do we?
It is.
Yep, okay.
Yes, it's confirmed that they're going to be there and they're going to be playing. They're having a stage demo, which they're playing.
Okay.
It's not playable.
If I had to guess, I would say that they would turn up on Microsoft's stage, but
Possibly, it could be. That would be nice.
it would be good to get more details out of them.
Either that, or they could be on. They could also be on the PC stage.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they are, of course.
I don't
classic.
think they'd be on the PC Gamer stage. I think the PC Game Show is not very popular to watch
It's
compared to it's a really long conference and it's a lot of noise.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff which is just sort of like, we're going to talk about Goat Simulator for 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
Nope.
quite.
I mean,
it's quite
yeah,
painful.
it's kind of cool in a weird.
It's super niche,
Yeah,
right?
a weird malware kind of way, I guess.
That's so
Sorry,
accurate.
shareware kind of way, but yeah, you know what I mean.
It feels, it really does feel
Weirdly put together.
very open source.
Control, I'm kind of interested in that, but not.
I'm super interested in that.
it's-
I think that's the most interesting
That would be
Remedy
Xbox
game
stage,
that I've
surely.
seen.
Yeah, I think
that'll-
I would guess Xbox stage, but I don't have a confirmation on that. So
yeah, I think when it was announced, I can't remember what stage it was announced on. It might have been. I would be surprised if it wasn't the Microsoft.
I mean, it's basically a MIB SCP SPC secure whatever.
SPC is the brand of peaches in a can.
It's the weird internet creepy pasta fiction thingy majig.
right.
But anyway, yeah. So
Philip Mewson.
that seems kind of cool. I don't know. Darksiders. There's a pretty recent rumor floating around that it's.
I heard about this, that they're totally rebooting
Yeah, they're completely
What?
remaking it into.
Why?
I don't know. It was big.
What are you doing, THQ Nordic? Stop.
I quite liked Darksiders as a series. I haven't played the most recent one, though.
I kind of wanted to
I
play that
haven't
most recent one because I heard it was Bayonetta-ish, or like that genre where they flip between things. Apparently,
Yeah, I didn't hear it was good.
yeah,
which
that's
was
why I
the thing
didn't.
that
And
made
also,
me
I heard it was
sad.
really loot based, which I just don't like. So
No,
something like that.
that's not good.
No.
Not for Darksiders, anyway. I want Darksiders to just be like Zelda, but different.
It could go another Okami, I guess. I don't know. Borderlands will probably turn up somewhere. I'm guessing at the PC Game Show is my educated guess.
I still don't think so. I think it's too big. I think it'll be on a different stage.
Who else would host it besides
Probably, yeah.
Microsoft?
That's the thing now, because we don't have multiple...
Competing platforms for stuff anymore. So
Maybe we will see more big games on the PC game stage.
that might be true, yeah.
than
We
what
might
would
also
normally-
see a lot of publishers just releasing their own
little videos.
Just releasing their own videos now.
Yeah, that's true. Randy Pitchford, of course, has been in the news recently, but not really for good reasons, so who knows.
He needs to stop.
Yeah. Rockstar is probably, my guess is actually continuing to focus on Red Dead Online, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see anything or hear anything from Rockstar whatsoever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they also
don't even
ignore
think
E3
they'll
from
do
memory, so
They've not been at E3 for a very, very long time.
They don't need to.
like
They're too big.
Activision.
oh my god. You see, like, how much do they sell? Like, hundreds of millions of copies? I don't know. Maybe that's too far, but
Apparently GTA is like still number 6 on the sales
yeah,
chart.
they're like, the scale of the amount of games that they sell is so far above everyone else. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I can only assume that their overheads is equally ridiculous, but still. Death Stranding obviously came out with a bunch of news this week.
I don't think we'll see anything more about it. I think they'll stick to their little Sony cons.
Well, they have. Do you think they'll have any floor presence? I don't know.
No, I don't. No. So I don't think Sony. I don't think they're going to be there at all. And I think the only time we're going to hear about any of this stuff moving forward is with those state of plays.
Yeah.
I think state of plays. I think maybe we might see something at Gamescom.
Maybe.
Or they have the Japan shows. Maybe.
By not being at E3 though, they've definitely like made their own path.
Yeah.
And I think not being at E3
they need to stick to it now. And stick to
exactly
their own
right.
timings.
I think they need to commit to it.
That would make sense, yeah. FromSoft, obviously, we were talking about the great rumor for the George R. Martin affiliated possibly game.
That could be an interesting announcement.
Yeah. They are Namco Bandai for most stuff really, isn't it?
Bandai Namco, yes.
And then who was Sekiro? Activision, right?
Sekiro was Activision.
Yeah, so I could see them if they came out of nowhere with something. They haven't been teasing anything as far as I know, so I don't think I don't have any expectations, but
it's not like FromSoft to tease.
No, they teased Sekiro. They teased Sekiro with
Did they?
They did. They had like just the logo.
Yeah,
like,
May Die Twice or something, or Shadows Die Twice or something.
Yeah, that's right.
But
I think they just had Shadows Die Twice.
And everyone thought it was a Tenchu game.
Correct.
It kind of was a Tenchu game, I think, so...
I guess.
Like, they came out and said, we started as a Tenchu game, but then we decided, nah. Modern Warfare just had a media blowout, so I think that probably means that they're not going to have a huge deal over there. Probably just game hands-on for journalists and stuff like that.
Guns and emotions.
I don't have either of those.
They're trying to.
I'm an Australian.
Vampire Bloodlines 2. I want to play that. That'll be a PC
gaming show.
I want that.
You don't even know what it is.
I want that so much.
You're the type of shit.
I want that in my veins.
Yeah. Vampires.
I've been watching all the Clan trailers as they come out.
I haven't, so I need to catch up
corny,
at some point.
but they're so cheesy. Like, they're full on, like, overly dramatic vampire bullshit. And
that's what I want.
I'm like,
I'm so hyped that this thing looks like it's aware of itself. Like, I mean, Vampire Bloodlines 1 was aware of itself as well, but it was aware enough that it played it seriously because it was like, actually, you want this to be.
It was aware of it enough that it also never got finished properly.
That's true. So hopefully they'll have some stuff to show somewhere.
I think PC gaming show we might see some stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a very fiddly kind of game to me, like a immersive sim RPG, not quite sure what it is yet. It wants to sell itself as an action game, but can't really be that and still be the game that it wants to be.
Yeah, I don't even care. Yeah. Just give it to me. Like, tasty.
Yeah. Platinum Games, I just kind of put this in here just because last year I think they had something like 5 projects show up all at once and almost all of them were new, so I'm just sort of like, okay.
Shit.
But I don't know. They might be busy. I don't know how big their teams are. They just turned.
Please let your developers sleep.
Yeah,
right.
They just turned up at Bit Summit recently and reiterated their desire to have their own IP and stuff like that. Because they're always working on contract projects, is my understanding. Or even if they're not, they're working on stuff that they've pitched to a developer, and the developer said, "Okay, well, we get the IP," and they're like, "Okay, well, just pay us, I guess." So Inaber has been out there for many years saying he was looking for Platinum Games to become an independent, like a truly independent studio by having its own intellectual property. So I don't know if this is the venue. They would probably announce something more at Japan in the Tokyo Game Show or something is my guess, but who knows. I've put Yakuza Project here just because I've got some wishful thinking. I know that they are developing the next Yakuza game, so I don't think this would be the venue for it, but yeah.
I don't think they'd show it here, I think that'll come out in Tokyo Game Show or something.
Judgment is out this month or next month, I think. So,
I keep going to call it Project Judge.
I mean, either is an acceptable name. And I've just got Hitman here just because Hitman's really good. You should play Hitman 2. It's good.
Hitman 2 is excellent.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have an announcement here necessarily.
Neither. Sadly.
I think they're trying to games as a service it, or they're just clinging to life. I'm not sure. Maybe both. And that's it for our E3 predictions in terms of what stuff we kind of vaguely know about beforehand.
There's going to be a huge amount of news and stuff coming out, which means we're probably going to have a really packed next episode as well.
That's a really good point.
So you're going to have that to look forward to.
Hooray.
Look forward to our voices for a stupid long time.
Yeah.
Breaking
much
it all
like
down.
today.
I'll try and do even more research.
It'll be easier when we're not just like, what rumors could possibly be things?
I like rumors, though. You get to talk about bullshit.
I can tell.
Rumors are fun.
Tales from my ass.
Just a couple of other quick things that we wanted to tell you all about, folks. Pat's got something he wants to recommend.
Oh, yeah.
Just in closing.
Not e-clothing, but, well, I recommend...
In closing.
Ah.
He said in clothing.
I thought you said e-clothing. I was like, oh, Pokemon shirts.
E-clothing?
I want those Pokemon shirts. I mean, I'm fine.
No, so this is a Kotaku article on shady numbers and bad business inside the esports bubble by Cecilia D. Anastasio. I think it's a really good article. It's basically just going through the current esports competitive environment for, I think, focusing mainly on MOBAs and Overwatch and that sort of stuff, and basically saying a lot of the money is like, people are always raising stats and money. So the money obviously is coming from sponsors who are looking at the views and stuff like that. But Cecilia goes in and looks at the companies that are providing the view tracking stuff and is like, okay, it's one company. This company is a black box, so they don't describe their methodology. And what methodology they have described is analogous to this other methodology, which just basically spams links in like wikis and shit like that. So just that autoplay. So they just inflate views that way, and it's like it's a really good explanation of like how much of this is just this weird marketing perception bubble. You've got bookies, at Tab or whatever, putting stuff out on this thing, and they're just hiring people who know anything about esports because they don't know how to put the numbers, but until they do, they have to pretend like they do. So the whole thing seems like this weird confidence, not scam necessarily, but definitely edging on that line. And I think it's a really interesting article I think it's really well researched as well. So I agree with you. It's definitely worth reading, especially if you are just curious about esports as a business. Yeah. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and this article doesn't really answer many questions. No, but it just But it kind of puts it into a better perspective. Yeah, and it also it's got like related industries like Red Bull, or like I saw that Blizzard just laid off a bunch of esports managers and tournament stuff as well. And I know that my friend Zoreen got laid off from Yahoo Esports maybe a year ago at this point, which is just a lot of ex GameSpot editor. Yeah, just a lot of places that are it's like this weird bubble, tumultuous, weird people times. Getting jobs and then the job disappearing.
It reminds me of like Bitcoin and its peak.
Yeah. And I also just wanted to very sneakily sneak in a recommendation for the Godzilla movie. I think it's really good, even though the human actors have been given a really kind of garbage script.
God, I hate human actors. Why do we still use
cinematography and direction, though, is fucking astounding. Like, holy shit.
Human actors in human movies.
Right?
Zilla actors only.
I've got a very quick recommendation, which isn't going to be for all of you, but for all my sim racing buddies out there. Assetto Corsa Competizione came out, and it's fucking mint. It is probably the best GT3 cars I've ever driven. Sim cars that I've ever driven. They're really, really fucking good. Still got a few little weird bugs around the edges, and bits and pieces they need to clean up. But as far as like the physics and the racing goes,
fantastic.
Really, really good. Really, really good. So definitely worth a pick up.
If we're going to talk about cars,
yes,
Tesla, the Model 3 is now available to order in Australia.
Wow, for all of our rich listeners.
And yeah, it's like a $3,000 deposit.
Oh shit.
And then you can get their loan, which is like 0.4 something %, which is actually a really good loan, I think.
Oh boy.
Go give Elon Musk
if you do that,
money.
Then the car costs you like 80 grand.
All right.
Woo!
Hooray.
Yeah.
And I will never have 80
Just
grand.
80 grand. Wow. Okay.
But
one day.
I would like a Tesla, even though I cannot drive cars legally.
You've got everything stacked against you, Hope. I gotta say.
Right? I don't have the money. I don't have the license. I don't have the eyesight.
Good luck, Hope.
Teslas can drive themselves.
That's true.
And I just think that electric cars are real good.
I mean, they're better than oil cars.
They are
way better than coal cars. Fucking coal cars.
Fucking
Adani.
coal cars.
Fuck.
Yeah, all those things. We test drove. I didn't drive because I am not allowed. But Aaron test drove. It sounds like I've done something really evil in a car, but it's just that I don't have a license and my eyesight makes it really difficult. And I've not been legally determined that I'm not allowed to get a license, but for me, I don't feel comfortable.
You have legally determined within yourself that you are not allowed to get a license.
Well, I have really bad depth perception.
Right.
And that just sounds like something that is not a great
It sounds
thing.
like something a Cyclops deals with.
Yeah.
Yeah, or me.
Or
you don't see
Hope.
Cyclopses in cars for
That's
good
true.
reason. Anyway, we drove the Tesla Model S on a test drive, and we also drove a Hyundai model recently that was a electric car, and they're very expensive. And my conclusion, though, is that electric cars are good.
They're good,
Rad.
but they're expensive. And on that note, I'm going to remind you that you can drop us an email at VGST@videogamers.com. Get in touch.
Videogames.com.
Videogamist.com. VGST@videogamist.com.
I was like, holy shit, did you get videogames.com?
Did you get Video James?
Can you imagine?
No.
Video James!
Oh, wow.
James!
What am I doing? What am I doing with my time?
Actually, I shouldn't have said that on the podcast. Cut this!
I know.
Plus, someone probably already
all,
owns it. It's fine.
It's all over. That's going to do it for us this week. It's been a bit of a massive episode.
It's been huge.
So thanks for hanging out and sticking with us.
And, as we slowly descend into delirium, or is that just me?
No, it's all right.
Definitely going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, we got there a little while ago. So I think we're going to say our goodbyes. Hope, Patrick. Hey, tell us where can we find you on the Twitters, Hope?
Oh, you can find me at Hope Corrigan. It's Hope like the word _Corrigan, CORRIGAN.
Patrick.
On the Twitters.
At Jintor_AU, JINTOR_AU.
Rock and roll. You can find me at J_Swinbanks, and we'll see you for the next episode.
Later.
Peace out.
Bye!